A century ago, the Great Spirit Qi Awakening transformed our world. This mystic energy became the absolute core of existence, forcing all living creatures down two brutal evolutionary paths. The first path? Savage ancestral regression, unlocking monstrous physical might. The second path ignited spiritual mutations, unleashing devastating, energy-based elemental attacks. In response, humanity adapted. We forged elite spirit Qi professions, birthing brilliant spirit beast observers and master material analysts to survive. Meanwhile, our protagonist lazily scrolled through his phone. A desperate forum user asked how to survive a ghostly thorn bristle spider bite. The silver-haired youth lounging on his bed calmly typed out a life-saving reply. He casually advised the victim not to panic. Drink scorching hot water and lie down somewhere breezy so their impending corpse wouldn't stink up the place. Suddenly, a tiny paw poked him. A fluffy creature whined about the blazing heat. This adorable furball was Smarty, a low-tier 100 questions beast. Smarty endlessly complained to his silver-haired master, Lin Yuan, about the sweltering temperature. He desperately scrambled atop Lin Yuan's head, hoping the higher altitude offered a cool breeze. Lin Yuan gave him a deadpan stare. His height barely mattered. Smarty pried the window open, melting with absolute joy as a refreshing breeze swept inside. Inside the dusty building, Lin Yuan tackled his daily chores. At just 18 years old, he proudly owned this humble, run-down spirit creature shop. While ordinary humans easily wielded spirit Qi to evolve their contracted beasts, for Lin Yuan, such power was nothing but a cruel, impossible fairy tale. Cursed with a dangerously frail physique since childhood, he lost all ability to sense the world's spiritual energy when he was merely 8 years old. Unable to heal his broken body with aura, contracting a high-tier beast was completely hopeless. He gently inspected a fragile spirit plant known as the Lily Luiera. It was a painfully weak, normal-grade spirit life form of the absolute lowest quality. He quickly realized that shielding it with a simple cloth simply wasn't enough. The blistering heat was suffocating, with zero escape. Smarty panicked as the fragile Lily Luiera began to dangerously wither away. As the absolute weakest healing-type spirit plant, its market value was garbage. It was practically more useless than cheap green creeper vines fed to livestock. Since the spirit aura awakening, society strictly categorized every beast by their absolute grade and genetic quality. Anything beneath the copper tier was total trash. Nobody wasted precious resources nurturing low-tier creatures, as elite beasts possessed far superior, destiny-altering evolutionary potentials. For the past 100 years, absolutely no one had ever witnessed a pathetic 100 questions beast achieve an evolution. Suddenly, a tiny avian spirit named Yin Yin swooped in, delivering Lin Yuan's daily medicine. This loyal little soundbird chirped as he gratefully thanked her. With a body as fragile as glass, merely forging contracts with bottom-tier beasts like Smarty and Yin left him dizzy for 2 agonizing weeks. Sensing aura to level them up was an impossible dream. An hour later, they looked incredibly bored. Smarty wondered if humanity simply overslept, pointing at the completely desolate street outside. Lin Yuan sighed, suddenly shouting into the void to advertise their fresh green creepers. Just then, a tiny girl hugging a pristine spirit cat strolled past with her mother. She spotted Smarty, noticing he was the same species as Keiki, the pampered beast in her arms. Smarty eagerly greeted them, peddling his creepers. Keiki smugly mocked Smarty's dry, gray fur, calling him a pathetic leftover. She claimed absolute superiority. Naturally, Smarty's pride took a massive, infuriating hit. Furious, he roared that they shared the same bloodline. He boldly challenged the arrogant feline to rock, paper, scissors. Lin Yuan frantically tried to calm his blazing fury. Besides, playing rock, paper, scissors with paw pads was literally impossible. To soothe his injured ego, Lin Yuan proposed a relaxing walk, abandoning the tragically empty shop. Smarty immediately demanded meat, hilariously claiming that devouring premium braised pork would magically boost his intellect and guarantee his ultimate victory next time. Lin Yuan desperately fought to hide his booming laughter. Yin Yin mercilessly tried comforting Smarty, chirping that even though he lacked the other beast's intelligence, he was incredibly cheap to maintain. Smarty groaned that her vicious comfort only worsened his despair. Meanwhile, guilt crushed Lin Yuan over his missing aura. Suddenly, Smarty shrieked at him to look left. A massive, terrifying, blunt-armored pig stood directly in their path. Why was this monstrous beast wandering near the park? A catastrophic breakout must have happened at the farm. Drooling uncontrollably, Smarty recklessly charged this moving mountain of wild braised pork. Lin Yuan desperately snatched him midair to prevent a suicidal massacre. They stood zero chance against this monster. Lin Yuan realized the naturally gentle creature was engulfed in a bloodthirsty rage. Smarty's pathetic attack shouldn't have triggered such fury. Lin Yuan sprinted for his life as the armored behemoth charged. His frail body rapidly reached its absolute limit. Hearing his master's ragged gasps, Smarty cried out in worry. Suddenly, Lin Yuan violently tripped. He desperately shielded Smarty with his fragile body. Trembling with fear, Yin Yin bravely dove to defend them. Even Smarty bared his fangs at the beast, while Lin Yuan's vision faded. He begged them to run. Suddenly, his consciousness shifted dimensions. Someone whispered his name. A massive ancient copper bracelet floated before him. It was the exact mystic artifact he lost at age 8. It had vanished after absorbing his blood. Now, blinding divine light surged toward his wrist. Lin Yuan felt an impossible, long-forgotten sensation return. Pure, unadulterated spirit qi. The power he lost at 8 years old had finally returned. Destiny bound the mystic bracelet tightly around his wrist. He snapped his eyes open. Smarty, dodging the rampaging blunt-armored pig, cried tears of joy. Yin Yin frantically chirped, begging him to unleash a miracle. But with such a pathetic sliver of newborn aura, time was up. Suddenly, the ancient bracelet ignited, and Lin Yuan's left eye erupted with breathtaking, absolute power. A blue system window materialized over the blunt-armored pig. Zai, normal grade, level 3. A pure defense type boasting normal domain quality. Scanning the data sent ice through his veins. Level 3? Smarty and the rest had not even breached level 1 yet. Evade right, he roared. But survival was not that simple. Even dodging by a hair, the sheer gap in combat power was absolutely overwhelming. He desperately craved true strength. If only that mystic bracelet formed a contract with him. Seeking vengeance for Smarty, Yin Yin unleashed a devastating sonic wave. Suddenly, Yuan spotted a familiar radiant aura enveloping her. Brilliant light consumed both beasts. Was the bracelet's mystic power triggering an evolution? In response, the armored beast unleashed a deafening roar. Smarty dug his claws in, fighting the crushing wind. How is that monster's roar louder than your sonic attack? He gasped. Even with a mid-battle evolution, jumping 2 entire levels was suicide. Fortunately, Yuan's true data eyes had already pinpointed its fatal weakness. This walking pork roast is insanely tough, Smarty groaned. Yin Yin chirped in sheer panic, begging for a battle strategy. Sing! Draw its aggro! He commanded. Just make it loud! She screeched with everything she had, her piercing, off-key vocals instantly scrambling the beast's senses. Thankfully, surviving over 400 agonizing training sessions had granted Yuan absolute immunity to her sonic torture. The furious beast locked onto Yin Yin, charging like a runaway train. She suddenly realized she had just become the new tank. Blind its eyes to break its charge, Yuan shouted. Yin Yin gathered her aura for a lethal strike, but her radiant glow violently sputtered out. Her powerful technique completely failed. Yuan's spiritual energy pool had hit rock bottom at the most catastrophic moment possible. Lend me your strength, he prayed to the relic. A massive surge of energy flooded back. Reignited, Yin Yin launched blinding razor-sharp feathers straight into its eyes. As the monster thrashed blindly, Smarty seized the opening. He blitzed forward like a phantom, launching a devastating strike directly at the beast's hypersensitive snout. Fleeing in pure agony, the monster swiped Smarty, sending him reeling. Did we win, Master? He groggily asked. Barely standing, Yuan managed a weak, triumphant nod. Their impossible victory was secured. But before the dust settled, Yuan's vision violently faded into utter darkness. The retreating beast suddenly slammed on the brakes. A terrifying aura blocked its path. A mysterious wheelchair-bound man holding a shadow beast, guarded by a fierce female warrior, awaited. The man's aura darkened. Why was an armored beast roaming this sector? The warrior woman gasped, spotting the familiar plumage stuck in the beast's hide. It belonged to the avian spirit dwelling in Yuan's home. Elder Li, crush this trash. I must save Yuan, she commanded. Go, he barked. Instantly, crimson spiritual energy erupted from Li's eyes as he synchronized with his nightmare beast. Meanwhile, Yuan's soul was pulled back into the ethereal void. He wandered this endless, dreamlike dimension, lost outside the flow of time. He stood before the mystical bracelet's core. Thank you, he whispered, deeply grateful for the life-saving surge of spiritual mana. Responding to his voice, the divine relic pulsed with blinding starlight. Yuan analyzed the ethereal realm, estimating its size at 40 to 50 square meters. Is this the legendary internal realm of a soul beast? He marveled, realizing he was standing inside the artifact's spatial domain. A golden system window appeared. Status: Mobius. Unknown species. Normal grade level 1. Possessing dual spatial and mystic attributes, armed with 2 foundational skills. First was true data, absolute eyes that pierced through all hidden worldly secrets. Second was calm mind, a passive, soul-stabilizing aura designed to nullify negative statuses as it ranked up. He had already witnessed true data's godlike utility. As for calm mind, surviving Yin Yin's demonic singing practice definitely forged that passive. But the real shocker? An exclusive trait. Such god-tier abilities were strictly reserved for elite beasts who had breached the bronze rank. For a mere normal grade to wield an exclusive trait, Mobius had to be a legendary divine artifact or a mythical fantasy breed. The trait was absolutely game-changing. Mobius could absorb and house spirit beasts, provided their base level did not eclipse its own. Its growth was terrifyingly parasitic. It leveled up alongside its host, copying their innate skill flawlessly. Moreover, every rank breakthrough expanded its soul capacity by 1. The brutal reality set in. He could only bind a level 1 normal grade beast, meaning Mobius's evolution rested entirely on his taming mastery. To unlock the next slot, he needed to grind a weak beast straight to level 10. But nurturing low-tier spirits burned through literal mountains of cash. This heavenly path was a financial black hole. Even a billionaire would go bankrupt instantly, let alone a completely broke student like him. Still, a burning fire ignited in his chest. A legendary start was better than nothing, and he could finally wield raw spiritual power. This was his turning point. He finally had the absolute power to flip his miserable fate upside down. Suddenly, a panicked voice bled through the void. "Doctor, it has been half a day. Why is he not waking up from mere mana exhaustion and mental shock?" That warm, frantic voice belonged to Auntie Jiang. Realizing his loved ones were terrified, Yuan shattered his mental domain to awaken. His eyes snapped open to sheer chaos. Yin Yin was frantically pecking him, while Smarty delivered rapid-fire slaps. "Stop, I am perfectly fine," he coughed. "Why are you two blubbering like babies?" he chuckled. Seeing him finally conscious, a massive wave of relief washed over a teary-eyed Auntie Jiang. The physician sighed, noting her deep terror. They immediately hooked him up for a rigorous aura diagnostic. "I am invincible now, doctor," Yuan protested. But Auntie Jiang fiercely shut him down, reminding him he had been comatose for 10 agonizing hours. "Never ignore your health, you foolish boy. Small injuries breed fatal flaws," she scolded fiercely. Defeated by her motherly aura, the newly awakened Tamer obediently surrendered to his bed rest. Although his neighbors Uncle Li and Auntie Jiang treated him like family, he kept his newfound power hidden. The legendary Mobius contract remained his absolute secret. As the physician summoned his familiar, a glowing status window appeared. It was a cleansing Vimba carp, a rare spirit beast of the Cypreninae lineage. This elite grade level 4 water elemental boasted 2 distinct abilities. A truly magnificent specimen. First was Tail Sweep, a devastating aerial strike, but the second was Cleanse, a miraculous power that completely shattered mental afflictions. What an incredibly rare spiritual technique. After the treatment, the healer confidently announced that our hero was perfectly healthy. The physician hurried home to his wife. Meanwhile, Uncle Lee's crimson and white familiar arrived, delivering a piping hot home-cooked meal. The old man crafted this nourishing feast specifically for him. Though Auntie Jiang offered him a choice, refusing such overwhelming kindness was entirely impossible. Smarty and Yin Yin practically vibrated at the rich aroma of braised pork. Glancing at their rabbit companion, he suddenly sensed an unexplainable aura. Unlike normal terror rabbits, this creature sat in complete, dead silence. Intrigued, he activated his absolute vision. Shockingly, the status screen glitched out into endless question marks. This wasn't some basic low-level monster. Pushing his limits, he embarked on his daily training run. Lungs burning, he maintained this grueling 1-hour routine since escaping the hospital. The physical toll was absolute hell. Born completely devoid of spirit chi, forging a foundation of raw muscle was his only path forward. Perhaps abandoning the battlefield for a peaceful, lifestyle class was his true destiny. Returning from the market, his neighbors spotted his exhausting routine. The old man warmly praised his morning discipline, and our hero simply smiled back. Secretly activating his appraisal art, a terrifying truth materialized. Uncle Lee was infected by legendary bone-devouring worms. This catastrophic biological toxin originated from a beast at platinum rank or beyond. It was an agonizing, soul-crushing mental curse. These demonic parasites literally dissolved their victims from the inside out. Yet this old man had forcefully suppressed that venom inside his leg for years. Only a Supreme King-grade master could survive such hellish torment. That meant his familiar was also severely wounded, using its current weak form to slowly heal. This kindly neighbor was secretly an absolute powerhouse. They offered their unwavering support, but he humbly waved off their concerns. He refused to be a burden anymore. Their endless generosity ignited a burning resolve within his soul. He vowed to uncover a cure and personally shatter the curse, destroying Uncle Lee. Throwing on fresh gear, he marched straight into his beast storefront. Resting inside was a basic green creeper vine, a completely ordinary, level 1 grass element familiar without a single drop of special potential. But miraculously, it had mutated into an elite grade overnight. He gasped in realization. His own overflowing spirit chi was unconsciously leaking out. The creatures were devouring his aura and breaking their genetic limits. Testing this god-tier ability, he attempted an impossible evolution into a Lily Luara. A dazzling light erupted. The common vine magically transformed into a glorious lily luara, a rare succulent of supreme vitality. It stood proudly as a level 1 elite wood elemental. It now possessed divine healing properties and a calming aromatic aura that melted away anxiety. His crazy experiment was actually an overwhelming success. This single evolution skyrocketed its market value by 10 times. He immediately summoned Smarty and Yin Yin to witness the miracle. Yin Yin chirped enthusiastically about breaking through their own bottlenecks. Checking the system, his sapient cat, Smarty, had ascended to normal grade level 2. The little feline was a pure psychic type with rapidly developing powers. He awakened absolute memory, an ability to permanently etch flawless details into his mind. Smarty boasted that his capacity expanded from memorizing 1 braised pork to 30 at once. Next, our protagonist inspected his avian companion. Yin Yin had reached level 3. The sonic-type songbird proudly unleashed a beautiful, leveled-up melody that resonated deep within the soul. Pure ecstasy washed over him. He had finally awakened his legendary golden finger, paving their path to absolute wealth and dominance. But the chilling reality quickly set in. Forced evolution defied the very laws of heaven and earth. Normally, forcing an ascension demanded elite creators, sacrificing mountains of priceless spiritual medicines just for a microscopic chance at breaking a beast's natural limits. Yet he possessed the power to shatter those limits effortlessly. This godlike talent was completely unprecedented in history. Empires would spill rivers of blood to enslave him. If word leaked out, the tallest tree would definitely be struck by heaven's wrath. Lacking the strength to defend his life, absolute secrecy was his only shield. To exploit this divine cheat, he needed to disguise himself as a creator. Infiltrating the creator profession would mask his impossible growth. Otherwise, he was practically painting a massive target on his own back. Lost in his grand schemes, a sudden phone call shattered his focus. His faithful pets frantically pointed at the buzzing device. It was Shuer, preparing to bind her very first spiritual familiar. She anxiously checked on his health, and he confidently assured her of his miraculous recovery. He casually mentioned clearing out the backyard, catching her completely off guard. Panic laced her voice, fearing his frail body would collapse without spirit chi. She strictly ordered him to halt all labor until her grand return. He smiled softly, brushing off the grueling work as mere chores. He gently reminded her of their sacred promise. She needed to focus entirely on her studies and unleash her absolute genius. Her eyes burned with fierce resolve. She swore she would never ever let him down. The Academy's awakening ceremony was approaching. In just 2 days, they would bond their first spirit beasts. This was a fate-changing event. While a spirit creature's bloodline was crucial, the professional's own spiritual realm truly unlocked its devastating battle power. For combat professions, mastering elemental resonance and compatibility was absolutely vital. If they chose a beast with clashing affinities, forming a contract became absolute suicide. The overwhelming elemental rejection could permanently shatter a contractor's fragile mental power. Even peaceful life professions like artisans or weavers required profound, soul-deep connections with their summoned beasts to flawlessly fuse ultimate spiritual materials together. Furthermore, their elite academy was strictly geared toward combat professionals, making flawless tactical synergy between master and beast an absolute necessity for survival. As the final bell chimed, the strict instructor ordered Shuer to remain behind. The stern teacher demanded to know if she truly wanted to reconsider her spirit contract. She knew her family's poverty, but her potential was heaven-defying. The Federation's 100-sequence tournament loomed near, and she was heavily warned against wasting this golden opportunity. A heavy shadow fell over her. Meanwhile, Yuan breathed a sigh of triumph, having successfully evolved 300 Lily Luaras into elite-grade treasures. This glorious harvest should yield at least 20,000 Federation coins, enough wealth to secure a majestic, high-grade spirit beast for Shue's grand awakening. Suddenly, an unknown caller ID flashed on his screen. Anticipating a wealthy new client, he gladly answered, perfectly timed before resting his exhausted body for the night. He answered politely, but a sharp, authoritative voice instantly pierced the line, demanding to know if he was Shue's official guardian. The teacher revealed Shue's tragic plan to bond a pathetic gray beetle. For a heaven-defying genius, that was an unforgivable waste. A gray beetle was normal-grade trash, worth barely 200 coins. It possessed mindless aggression and garbage skills. Basically, no sane warrior ever contracts them. They were mere cheap fodder for superior insectivores. Shockingly, the teacher revealed Shue's legendary affinity encompassed absolutely all defense-type spirit creatures. Such monstrous defensive potential was breathtakingly rare. Only a handful of elites in Violet-Thorn City possessed it. She fiercely demanded the Guardian secure an elite-grade defender for her awakening contract. Masking his absolute shock, Yuan politely understood and expressed his gratitude. He swore to deliver a worthy spirit creature within 2 days. However, purchasing an elite-grade monster demanded an astronomical fortune of at least 100,000 Federation coins. Time was furiously bleeding away. He desperately needed to evolve all those normal-grade green creepers to elite status overnight, then sell them to secure a top-tier defensive beast tomorrow. Exhausting his spiritual chi all night left Yuan looking like a living corpse, yet a victorious smirk graced his pale face for finishing on time. The underground beast market was fiercely treacherous, forcing him to cautiously conceal his spatial bracelet from greedy eyes. He glanced down, questioning if Smarty truly dared to brave this chaotic realm alongside him. Smarty confidently agreed. The old excuse that a good Smarty guards the house simply vanished. Besides, ruthless haggling was the sacred, inherent duty of 100 questions beast. Yuan sighed, realizing his furry companion had grown surprisingly stubborn and defiant since his evolution. Their transport roared to a halt. The driver warned everyone behind the yellow line as a terrifyingly powerful spirit horse hauled the massive carriage forward. This arcane vehicle baffled Yuan's worldly knowledge. Smarty smugly mocked him, claiming he read ancient history books instead of modern magical transportation guides. 1 century after the Grand Spirit Chi revival, mystical beasts had entirely replaced the obsolete remnants of old steel machinery. The driver roared a warning before launching forward. The explosive acceleration instantly flung a shrieking Smarty straight out of the open window. With lightning reflexes, Yuan snatched him back inside. The gruff driver casually asked if they were braving the infamous beast market. If so, they had chosen the perfect day. Surprised, Yuan demanded answers, prompting the driver to question his sheer ignorance of recent news. Merely 2 days ago, a terrifying dimensional rift tore open about 30 miles outside Xia County. The elite Violetthorn guards battled endlessly for 2 full days and nights, slaughtering the monstrous aberrant insects to regain control. A vanguard squad still fiercely guarded the bloody perimeter nearby. Tragically, that chaotic rift ruptured directly beside a massive spirit creature breeding sanctuary. Countless beasts were massacred or crippled. Desperate surviving employees were now hawking the heavily wounded creatures at the market, explaining the sudden surge of stray, blunt, armored pigs. The driver laughed, bragging that a stampede of blunt, armored pigs escaped, allowing him to loot one for mere pennies during yesterday's utter chaos. He gloated about a lavish family feast once it hit the dinner table, hanging the leftover mystical meat to dry and cure. Yuan praised his incredible luck, hastily requesting a drop-off near the trading stalls. This was heaven sent, as critically crippled spirit creatures would sell for absolute rock-bottom prices. Hidden bargains awaited. Moments later, Yuan stepped into the chaotic bazaar and scanned his surroundings. Pumping his chest, Smarty swore to handle negotiations. He eagerly demanded their target spirit creature species and their ultimate maximum budget. Yuan declared they needed an elite-grade defensive monster. As for the cost, it demanded a staggering fortune of at least 100,000 Federation coins. Smarty gasped in absolute horror. Their meager savings barely touched 20,000. Yuan calmly revealed his plan to barter the magical flora he evolved last night. A mundane green creeper fetched anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000 maximum. Even hawking 20, their grand ambition remained hopelessly underfunded. Whispers of nature suddenly echoed in his mind. The flora was beckoning to him. His newfound senses could perfectly read the auras of every surrounding spirit beast. A brighter radiance meant a purer connection. His gaze swept past mystic carp, shadowed orchids, frost lilies, and the legendary 1,000 jade hands. Could his elemental resonance truly be this boundless? Nature and healing spirits gravitated to his aura like moths to a flame, but Shuer needed something different. Her destiny lied with an unbreakable guardian. Smarty eagerly pointed out a target. An intense haggling war began. The merchant demanded 80,000. Smarty lowballed at 10, settling a fierce stalemate at 20,000 against 60,000. Their prize? A formidable iron pelt rabbit, born from the resilient Rodentia bloodline. An elite Tier 1 defender. Its signature ability, Diamond Pelt, manifested an impenetrable armor of hardened keratin to completely nullify incoming lethal strikes. Yuan quickly bowed, apologizing for his companion's chaotic bartering. Smarty grumbled, certain his aggressive negotiations would have secured the 20,000 deal, but Yuan gently hushed him, deciding to scout the marketplace further. Next up was an earthbound tortoise of ancient lineage, a basic Tier 3 guardian beast of standard rarity. Its towering growth skill allowed it to massively expand, retreating into an indestructible shell fortress to absorb devastating blows. Too weak. Yuan knew cultivating it would waste precious time, while Smarty mocked its sluggish speed. Moving on, they discovered a mysterious phantom claw fox, another elite Tier 1 protector of standard caliber. Its evasion technique shrouded its body in a dense spiritual aura, rolling like a defensive wheel. Yet, it barely outshined the armored rabbit. Its timid nature made it a terrible shield for Shuer. Smarty boldly voted to crawl back to the iron pelt rabbit, but Yuan refused to settle. Destiny demanded perfection. Searching relentlessly, he finally approached the very last candidate. Behold, The Spiral Horn Ram, an elite Tier 7 Earth elemental boasting absolutely flawless quality. It wielded absolute defense with a masterful horn parry, capable of crushing enemies instantly with its devastating charging assault. Amidst the flock, a flawless infant caught Yuan's piercing gaze, harboring a rare crowd control ability. Abandoning brute force, this prodigy possessed the thunderous shock horn. Its high-frequency vibrations could strike and instantly paralyze any foe in its path. Yuan boldly offered 100,000. Stunned, the merchant paused the deal, desperately needing to consult his wife. Smarty panicked. His market research proved these beasts maxed out at 50,000. Even a legendary mutation wouldn't breach 90,000. Scolding Yuan's arrogant spending, Smarty sighed. Yet Yuan calmly smiled, insisting this massive offer merely demonstrated true sincerity. You still lack the wisdom of commerce, Yuan teased. Suddenly, the merchant fiercely countered with 120,000 Federation coins. Absolute extortion. Frustration gripped Yuan's heart. The Guardian Beast market was completely barren. He might be forced to swallow this outrageous robbery after all. Without warning, a nearby butcher declared his magical beast stock completely empty. Greedy customers pointed at dying creatures, demanding a fresh slaughter. Hearing this grim fate, a brilliant spark ignited within Yuan's eyes. Smarty fiercely tugged his sleeve. This was no time to daydream about roasted pork. The weary merchant pitied the suffering beasts and the impatient crowd. He waved the hungry buyers closer to inspect the remnants. With just 3 survivors, he promised massive profits to any bold buyer. But the lazy crowd scattered, seeking only meat ready for the grill. Lacking healing arts or the vast wealth to hire an alchemist, they scoffed and walked away in disgust. Yuan stepped into the light, but the exhausted boss waved him off. The meat trade was closed for the day. Yuan firmly clarified his true intent. He wanted the living beasts. Seeing the merchant's volatile, trembling aura, Yuan hesitated. A reckless negotiation now meant certain banishment. But Yuan had transcended. He silently unleashed his aura ability, mind soothing. Instantly, the merchant's raging tension melted into absolute peace. Relaxed, the man smiled warmly, insisting that Yuan drop the formalities and simply call him Senior Yang. Senior Yang guided them toward the shadows, revealing 3 battered souls. A trio of venomous webweaver spiders. Their fierce facades hid a gruesome truth. Massive, fatal tears ripped across their abdomens. Their life force would vanish within 2 days. Smarty gagged at the stench of decay. Yet, these beasts possessed the deadly, ancient Araneidae bloodline. Basic Tier 10 venom elementals, radiating an absolutely flawless intrinsic quality. Their phantom thread skill laid invisible, razor-sharp traps. Worse yet, their toxic barrage could unleash devastating nets completely drenched in paralyzing venom. Without that dimensional catastrophe, these geniuses would have shattered the Copper Realm. An absolute hidden treasure. At full health, the Starnet auction house would easily bleed 300,000 Federation coins for just one. Senior Yang sighed. Control and venom support beasts held unimaginable value. But in this dying state, scoring 150,000 for both was a foolish dream. Yuan's heart blazed. He desperately claimed both venomous spiders. Yet lacking the immense funds, he boldly proposed a spirit beast exchange. Senior Yang chuckled, revealing that once this tragic batch was finally cleared, building a new spirit breeding base from scratch requires vast resources. These traded beasts might be completely useless for his grand rebirth. Sighing at this childish naivety, his hopes crumbled. But then, Yuan offered a game changer, elite-grade green creepers. A trade for elite creepers? The vendor demanded proof of quality. Yuan just smirked, overflowing with supreme confidence. Inspect them at my domain first, Yuan challenged. Brother Yang hesitated, knowing elite creepers were absolute legendary treasures. Such divine flora easily commanded double the market rate. Intrigued, Yang revealed his final, ultimate spirit beast. A masterpiece of their blood and sweat. Behold, the Rhino Rock Ox, an elite grade level 10 Earth-type Titan. An epic quality juggernaut. Its rock horn skill envelops its crown in stone, unleashing a devastating, suicidal forward charge. Its ultimate technique, sacrifice, allows this noble creature to absorb lethal damage meant for its contracted master. Yuan's eyes blazed with intense hunger. Name your ultimate price. This near-copper rank epic defender was the perfect guardian to protect Shue's life. Shocked, Brother Yang questioned his sanity. The beast's life force was severely crippled. It's flawless, Yuan declared, offering 200,000 Federation coins. Flabbergasted, Yang asked if he possessed a miraculous healing technique. A legendary creator must be backing this prodigy. Yang verified if all 3 beasts would secure those elite creepers. My creepers will exceed your dreams, Yuan promised. Smarty fiercely vouched for his master's honor. Trust, established. With the 3-beast deal sealed, Yang dismantled his humble stall. It was time to inspect those legendary creepers. Thankfully, he possessed a magical spirit lockbox. Capturing the ox and spider, he tossed the artifact. It instantly expanded with a dramatic burst of spatial energy. What divine artifact is that? Smarty gasped. A spirit lockbox, he smirked, an ostrich logistics masterpiece. This spatial anomaly shrinks colossal beasts, completely nullifying their crushing weight for effortless feather-light transportation. Mind utterly blown, Smarty stared in awe. Why had they never wielded such supreme technology before? Our bloodline never possessed the immense wealth required, Yuan confessed with a bitter smile. A titanic ox inside a tiny cube? Impossible. Meanwhile, Yang grieved that this mighty creature might never achieve its destined copper rank evolution. Suddenly, he unleashed his terrifying tumor-crowned fire lizard, a horned lizard genus predator, standing at copper rank level 7 out of 10, radiating normal quality aura. Its deadly shedding fangs skill leaves razor-sharp teeth deeply embedded within its prey's screaming flesh. Its ultimate death roll maneuver violently twists its scaly body, ruthlessly tearing apart bone and sinew. Its exclusive burning venom trait floods its jaws with a hellish, flesh-melting toxic inferno. The beast nuzzled its master, filling him with profound Tamer's pride. Impressive, right? He boasted. Overwhelmed by its majesty, Yuan intensely analyzed every single scale. A spectacular close-up encounter with a copper rank entity. That burning venom granted it terrifying offensive supremacy. Yang was utterly astounded. This youth possessed the legendary specialized intellect of a master spirit researcher, either a heaven-defying prodigy or backed by an omnipotent master. Betting on this kid was a stroke of absolute genius. Hey, Yang! Angry voices erupted. Rival merchants furiously protested the sudden, terrifying materialization of his fiery lizard. Their beasts were paralyzed with mortal terror. Offering hasty apologies, Yang commanded an immediate, swift departure. Mounting the blazing lizard, the trio bolted like a comet across the bustling market. Eclipsing any pathetic donkey cart, they arrived in a flash. Your domain is surprisingly close, Yang noted. Yang secretly admired Yuan's iron constitution. Most rookies violently lose their lunch during their first monstrous ride. To Yang, this was child's play. His true ambition was dominating the skies atop a majestic flying beast. Despite their nauseous, pale faces, they expressed deep gratitude. Experiencing a copper rank ride was a glorious, unforgettable milestone. Pushing open the heavy door, Yuan warned of his humble abode, welcoming the veteran merchant inside. Scanning the room with eagle eyes, Yang doubted this shabby sanctuary housed a legendary, secluded creator. If these green creepers lacked supreme quality, he would ruthlessly terminate their pact. Business was cutthroat. Then, the creepers caught his eye. Mind blown. Only a divine creator could forge elite flora dripping with such heaven-defying quality. Absolute perfection. These ultra-rare prime-quality artifacts were practically mythical treasures, entirely unseen on the boundless Starnet. Infused with raw energy aura pre-evolution, their robust root systems pulsed with awe-inspiring, boundless vitality. Yuan smirked with unshakable confidence. Yang stared, completely mesmerized by the impossibly rich, glowing spiritual sap. Yang's eyes widened in awe. The kid wasn't bluffing. This was truly a top-tier, elite-grade masterpiece. Was his rotten luck finally shifting? He instantly remembered his past, standing before a legendary master creator. Seeking a master's aid meant offering incredibly rare spirit materials. Lacking such treasures, Yang knew his only path to success was winning over this mysterious Yuan. Are these green creepers to your liking? Yuan asked calmly. Thrilled. Yang immediately nodded, beyond satisfied. Now, let's discuss the price. These weren't just ordinary plants. They were prime quality, elite-grade treasures. On the Starnet, they would easily fetch 30,000 apiece. I can offer 3,000 per pot, for 100 pots. Hearing those massive numbers, Smarty's furry little mind spun with shock. Yuan agreed without hesitation. He desperately needed bulk sales to level up his spirit key profession rank, making this the absolute perfect deal. Despite this being a massive fortune, Yang noticed something terrifying. The young man remained utterly composed. Such absolute calm meant one thing. This humble shop and simple clothing were definitely a clever smokescreen for a terrifyingly powerful backer. How many days to prepare the goods? Yang asked respectfully. Give me exactly 7 days, Yuan replied with absolute confidence. He mentally calculated the brutal workload. 1 hour per pot, 2 days for Shuer's spirit creature delivery, plus his crucial recovery time. Meanwhile, Yang silently celebrated. This was a legendary blessing in disguise. His miserable fate was finally changing. Securing the rhino rock ox, Yuan confirmed their 7-day deadline. Stunned by this incredible trust, Yang nervously asked if he required a deposit for the remaining 70-plus pots. We will settle the full amount upon pickup, Yuan stated firmly. Nodding with deep respect, Yang promised to return in exactly 7 days. See you then, Yuan nodded. As the door closed, his gaze darkened. It was time for the truly exhausting trial. He hauled the massive rhino rock ox into the backyard. Is the big guy staying? Yin Yin chirped. We absolutely cannot afford him. Smarty panicked. We must save its life first, Yuan commanded. The beast's life force was fading fast. He had to act right now. Channeling his divine skill, healing light bathed the horrific scars. Seeing the flesh knit together, Yuan pushed his spiritual power even harder. He unleashed even more power. Under the overwhelming aura, the massive beast instantly let out a deafening roar. What was this phenomenon? A crystalline shell suddenly encased the beast. Yuan gasped. It was the legendary breakthrough barrier. To copper rank, the grueling process stretched into dusk. Shadows fell, stars emerged, yet Yuan refused to break his intense concentration. Together, they battered against the evolutionary wall. Finally, a sharp crack echoed, and a terrifying surge of energy exploded outward. Absolute success! The beast had miraculously evolved into an Ironhorned rhino ox, a supreme member of the giant horn lineage. System details updated. Copper rank level 1. 1 out of 10. It possessed the devastating rockhorn skill, coating its horns in reinforced metal for a reckless, self-sacrificing charge, plus the heroic sacrifice ability, which violently absorbs incoming damage, meant for its master. Now, for the exclusive trait Awakening. Option 1 was Scaled Hide. It grows a formidable layer of scale-like armor composed of its own tough skin, designed to shatter enemy blades. Option 2 was Tireless Trek, an endless stamina reserve for relentless battlefield mobility. And lastly, Option 3, Pain Siphon, a terrifying passive that devours incoming damage and converts it directly into surging life force. Yuan's mind raced, struggling to choose an exclusive trait. Tireless Trek was absolutely garbage for a pure tank, but the remaining 2 options were top-tier choices. Scaled Hide offered incredible physical defense, coating the beast in an impenetrable, thick layer of battle-ready scales. The jagged scales could also shred enemies during a reckless charge. It was a highly practical, combat-ready enhancement. But Pain Siphon was monstrous, absorbing a portion of enemy attacks and simultaneously converting it into healing life force. It transformed the beast into an unkillable juggernaut that practically begs to be hit. Growing infinitely tankier under heavy fire? Absolutely broken. Yuan locked in Pain Siphon. The beast's evolution was finally complete. If Yuan masterfully combined rock horns with Pain Siphon to create a devastating positive feedback loop, it wasn't just a defensive shield, it became a terrifying heavy offensive weapon in defensive clothing. This was Shue's ultimate first spirit creature. With this ironclad beast by her side, Yuan knew no enemy would ever dare approach her. Smarty laughed, joking that Shuer and the Ironhorned rhino ox would make the ultimate Beauty and the Beast combo. But Yuan completely ignored the joke. His sister's total safety was the only thing that mattered. Besides, Yuan teased with a smirk. You are literally a beast yourself, Smarty. Suddenly, pure energy surged through Yuan's veins. The evolution feedback was incredible. The higher the rank of the spirit creature he brilliantly evolves, the more explosive his own spiritual power growth becomes. Yet, the toll was immense. Forcing this giant to break through to copper rank had drained almost every single drop of his strength. If a Grandmaster Creator had used legendary heavenly and earthly treasures, just how terrifying would this beast's evolution have been? Soaked from the Ironhorned rhino ox's massive tongue, Smarty groaned, asking how they would ship this giant to Shuer. Yuan confidently replied, they would use the famous ostrich logistics. Flush with fresh cash and heavily pressed for time, he immediately booked an expensive express flight order. They would arrive shortly. Hearing the word flight, Smarty's eyes sparkled with sheer excitement. He desperately wanted to soar like Yin Yin. Meanwhile, deep within the Grand Huiyuan Palace, someone requested 3 portions of patchouli sprouts, 1 portion of sunken sea ebony, and 1 portion of platinum beast blood essence. The legendary ingredients merged within a glowing vial. City Lord, a military officer asked nervously, what exactly is this elixir? Hold your tongue! The esteemed noblewoman beside him hissed sharply. Suddenly, a solid core was dropped into the glowing mixture, unleashing an earth-shattering wave of pure, explosive energy. A blonde woman dropped crimson liquid into her brew, triggering an explosion of thick red smoke. The 2 experts behind her choked under the crushing spiritual pressure. Her aura violently shattered their protective shields. They were in the presence of a legendary 5-star creator. She commanded them to summon the spirit beast they desired to evolve. This supreme being was the Moon Empress, one of the Radiant Federation's 3 mighty 5-star creators. King-grade expert Sikong breathed a massive sigh of relief. Beside him, Violet Thorn City's lord, Ling Xiao, smiled, assuring him victory was already secured. Bowing deeply in gratitude, Sikong instantly summoned his bonded spirit beast. She drenched the ferocious crimson-marked black tiger with her divine vial. It immediately collapsed, exposing its belly. As Sikong panicked, the Empress ordered him to calm down. His beast was breaking through to the legendary grade. By fusing his comprehended will rune, it would transcend into an ultimate fantasy breed. Overwhelmed, he swore eternal loyalty to her like a faithful hound. He pledged to brave hellfire and die 1,000 deaths for her grace. The tiger's eyes flashed with newly awakened power as it unleashed a deafening roar. But its cry awakened a tiny crescent-marked rabbit. Instantly, the terrifying tiger trembled in absolute fear. The Moon Empress brushed off his dramatic oaths. Instead, she shifted her focus to a much larger issue, the upcoming creator selection exams. Traditionally held every 3 years, candidates were restricted to climbing only one rank at a time. Such rigid rules suffocated true genius. Sikong gasped, realizing she wanted to allow examinees to conquer multiple tier exams in a single explosive run. She smirked, clarifying the jump would strictly be from level 1 straight to level 2. Any prodigy who crushed the level 1 exam under 2 hours would bypass all basic requirements, earning a direct ticket to challenge the level 2 trials. She commanded him to execute this decree immediately. He simply replied, "Yes." Xiao wondered aloud. Was the Federation lacking true young prodigies? After all, recent candidates had utterly failed to comprehend even a single will rune. The Empress confessed it was purely personal pride. Her fellow 5-star rivals, the Bamboo Lord and Kitchen Sovereign, had already crowned their own disciples. She refused to lose to those 2 old fossils. Xiao's eyes widened in sheer shock. The Moon Empress was finally hunting for an heir. Furthermore, a catastrophic dimensional tide was looming. And Violet Thorn City stood at ground zero, infested with endless aberrant insect rifts. As the city's ruler, Xiao carried the heavy burden of defending her domain and its people. Every rift had to be locked down tightly. Failure meant total annihilation. Lord Xiao firmly swore to defend Violet Thorn City with her life. High above the earth, Yuan soared through the skies. The beast pilot checked on his pale passenger, promising smoother flying once they pierced the clouds. Fighting back overwhelming nausea, Yuan gritted his teeth. The pilot chuckled, noting his energetic 100 questions beast. Sadly, strict weight limits had forced him to leave his beloved companion behind. Before departure, Smarty had thrown a massive tantrum begging to fly. Little Yin Yin had to bear hug the beast, pretending to fly him around. Promising epic snacks upon his return, Yuan smiled through his sickness. He assured the pilot that countless flying opportunities awaited them in the future. Reaching their cruising altitude, the pilot urged him to look down. A breathtaking, heaven-defying panorama unfolded beneath them. Silver moonlight danced across the winding river, weaving pure magic. Yuan stared in awe, realizing this was a true once-in-a-lifetime spectacle. Suddenly, spiritual energy exploded within his sea of consciousness. Could this overwhelming power be a legendary will rune? Will runes were the ultimate manifestations of nature's essence, grasped only by elite spirit chi professionals. They were the absolute key to unlocking heaven-defying fantasy breeds. Grasping the radiant symbol, Yuan's heart raced wildly. He had successfully condensed the majestic will rune of mountains and rivers. Which divine beast could fuse with this monstrous element? His plotting was abruptly cut short when the pilot yelled back, snapping him into reality. Shaking off the shock, Yuan demanded their arrival time to Violet Thorn City as endless mountain peaks blurred past them. The pilot warned they would not land until morning. Yuan blinked in shock. Their original schedule promised a pre-dawn arrival. The pilot admitted he had throttled down the speed to ease Yuan's terrible air sickness. Gritting his teeth, Yuan ordered him to ignore his nausea and ignite full power. Without hesitation, the pilot slammed the accelerator. Back at the academy, chaos erupted. Instead of their sacred contracting ceremony, students were unexpectedly dragged to the arena. Whispers spread about a massive schedule overhaul. The moment they forged contracts with their beasts, a brutal live combat exam would immediately commence. Accelerating the combat trials was completely unprecedented. But rumors blazed that it was a ruthless screening for Violet Thorn's legendary 100 Sons. The entire curriculum had been violently fast-tracked for one single purpose, to weed out the weak and forge elite prodigies. Panic set in as students confirmed the terrifying rumor through rival academies suffering the exact same fate. The instructor barked orders. This wasn't just a basic trial, it was a crossover bloodbath. Freshmen were about to face their very first combat drill against battle-hardened third years. The rules were absolute. Form a contract, draw a random number, and step into the meat grinder against a veteran upperclassman. Sink or swim with their newly bound beasts. Beside Shuer, a trembling classmate whispered her sheer terror of the upcoming bloodshed. "A gray beetle?" she gasped. Shue's eyes held unwavering resolve. "Yes, Gripping it tightly, the arena erupted. A blunt armor pig ruthlessly hunted down a tiny spirit beast. The freshman's gliding squirrel fled. Third year wins, outrage sparked. This matchmaking is absolute garbage, a rookie yelled. Freshmen with newly bound spirits facing hardened veterans? It wasn't a duel. It was an absolute slaughter. Shuer was up. Their class prodigy was their final glimmer of hope. Ninth bout, commence, the instructor boomed. Fighters, ready? The senior smirked. The rookies froze in pure dread. It was him, Feng Lixing. Backed by the prestigious Creators Guild, he needed just a few more crushed skulls to qualify for the elite Violet Thorn's 100 Sons. Shue's talent was legendary, but her crippled spirit beast? Lixing grinned internally. What a total joke. With fresh guild intel in his pocket, these rookies were merely stepping stones to inflate his perfect record. The heavens were practically handing him the crown. Beyond the 100 Sons, the Moon Empress's apprenticeship was within his grasp. His meteoric ascent to absolute power had finally begun. Rumor had it Shuer was binding a pathetic gray beetle. If true, she wouldn't last a single brutal second in his arena. Yet, Shue's aura burned fierce. Gray beetle or not, she refused to bow. Wait. A frantic voice shattered her focus. Her instructor rushed forward, dragging a restrained spirit beast behind her. A desperate last-minute lifeline. An elite-grade yellow-spotted dog. Don't throw your genius away, she pleaded. Suddenly, a booming, "Hold on," echoed as a massive avian shadow engulfed them. Yuan plummeted from the heavens, sticking a flawless landing. Thanks, Teach, he smirked. But I brought my sister's true partner. Brother? Shuer gasped, utterly stunned. Panting, he flashed a grin. Barely made it. Trust me, Shuer. Bind this one immediately. The instructor narrowed her eyes. Is this mystery beast reliable? If not, take my elite hound. It's unruly! Lixing erupted into mocking, arrogant laughter. Beetle, mutt, or mystery trash. It changes nothing, he sneered. None of your pathetic toys can even scratch my seasoned champion. Behold, the devastating Strength King Beetle, a copper rank level 1 titan. Armed with giant horn ram and valiant charge, its exclusive insect observation shatters any low-rank illusions. The instructor swallowed hard. That monstrous behemoth radiated pure terror. Her elite hound would be crushed instantly. Meanwhile, Shuer stared at her brother's gift. A copper rank lockbox? Where did their broke family find this fortune? Did he sell their ancestral shop? Stop analyzing, Yuan chuckled. Just focus on crushing your enemy. Her eyes hardened with fierce conviction. I won't let your sacrifice be in vain! The soul link ignited in a blinding flash. The crowd gasped in pure awe. What on earth is that majestic beast? Clad in literal steel. Flashy entrance, Lixing scoffed. But raw combat experience always butchers fancy armor. Going bankrupt for a doomed iron ox? How utterly pathetic, he sneered. The fight just started, Shuer roared back. Ironhorned rhino ox. Obliterate them. Rock horns. The instructor trembled with hype. A copper rank rhino ox with flawless atavism? It was the absolute pinnacle of defense-type powerhouses. That horn alone is 700,000 coins. Yuan sighed. Teach. Stop treating my beast like a price tag. Analyst habits die hard, she countered. Boom! Horn struck against horn in an earth-shattering collision. Foolish rookie, Lixing barked. Now witness the devastating wrath of a true power assault beast. Giant horn ram. Shue's ox dug its hooves deep into the earth. Sparks flew, millimeters away from a ring-out. Lixing's eyes widened. Channeling spirit chi this flawlessly right after soul binding? The girl was an absolute monster. The instructor exhaled sharply. Thank heavens it survived. But Shuer is too hot-headed, charging blind off a cheap taunt. Total rookie mistake, the crowd muttered. But Yuan smiled knowingly. It was brilliant. By instantly syncing with her ox's skills, that reckless charge wasn't anger at all. It was a masterclass probing maneuver. Why is the beetle just circling? The scrubs murmured. Lixing rolled his eyes. Idiots. They understood nothing of true combat. When an assault type shifts into overdrive, it only craves one thing. The perfect angle for an absolute fatal strike. This naive little girl, he sneered, is about to experience a living nightmare. The beetle launched like a missile. Shue's heart dropped. A massive dust explosion swallowed the arena entirely. The shockwave was downright apocalyptic. Surely the Iron Ox had been pulverized. This beetle was the Academy's legendary one-hit executioner. Even the instructor bowed her head in defeat. Even with Shuer bleeding, her spirit chi dry to stabilize it. Surviving the first strike only guarantees a slow, agonizing demise. Spectators protested the blatant unfairness of pitting a third year against a rookie. Yet Yuan remained unfazed. He had handpicked the perfect ability for this exact scenario. Shuer signaled her Ironhorned rhino ox. The time had come. Pain siphon activate. Confusion rippled through the crowd. The spirit energy surrounding the beast suddenly shifted, rapidly mending its wounds. Was this a hidden innate technique? The instructor gasped in excitement upon recognizing Pain Siphon. This rare skill could absorb catastrophic damage and directly transmute it into surging vitality. An incredibly rare exclusive technique. Yuan beamed with absolute pride for his sister. Despite this being her combat debut with an unfamiliar beast, she masterfully dominated the battlefield, seizing the perfect opening with ruthless precision. Ironhide or not, it is just a tougher punching bag. Lixing roared with arrogance, commanding his Strength King beetle to relentlessly press the assault. The Academy students watched in absolute awe. Despite enduring devastating blows, the Iron Beast's life force remained utterly unshakable and completely full. Yet it remained a passive target. The anxious instructor questioned Yuan, wondering if this heavily armored creature possessed even a single counterattack ability. Watching Shui absorb blow after blow was agonizing. Yuan calmly silenced the instructor's panic, reminding her of Shui's natural affinity for absolute defense-type spirits. He trusted her brilliant strategy completely. Across the arena, a furious Lixing commanded his beast to annihilate them in a single strike. He ordered a full-powered giant horn ram. The monstrous insect lunged with devastating force. In response, Shui fearlessly unleashed the Rockhorn's technique. Spectators gasped as the beast weaponized the very battlefield. Was such manipulation even legal? Meanwhile, Yuan swelled with pride at her genius terrain adaptation. A purely masterful tactic. Lixing scoffed at her supposed cheap tricks, blindly ordering his enraged beetle to crush them into absolute dust. Shattered debris rained down during the beetle's relentless charge. Unfazed, Shui commanded her iron beast to continuously spam the Rockhorn's ability. Two titanic horns fiercely collided. The crowd stared in absolute shock as the Iron Ox effortlessly withstood the impact. Nobody could comprehend this perfectly matched deadlock. Yet, keen observers noted the aggressive Strength King beetle slowly gaining a terrifying advantage. The instructor revealed the grim truth. The giant horn ram was a suicidal assault, a frenzied strike that completely ignored the user's own bodily destruction. Crashing into such an impenetrable fortress meant every single ferocious strike viciously reflected agonizing recoil damage back onto the beetle itself. Furthermore, Lixing had recklessly cultivated this beast for pure slaughter, sacrificing everything to achieve absolute maximum attack power and inescapable target locking. In his blinding arrogance, he never calculated the fatal possibility of a same-grade spirit creature entirely neutralizing his overwhelming assault. Yuan understood this hyper-aggressive cultivation method relied on overwhelming dominance for a lightning-fast victory. But what happens when Lixing completely fails to instantly crush his opponent? Suddenly, the massive beetle stumbled. The crowd dismissed it as sheer luck, but the wise instructor immediately shattered that foolish assumption. Both combatants were fearsome spirit creatures. However, in a grueling war of attrition, the fragile center of gravity of an insect type could never rival an earth-shattering Ironhorned rhino ox. Furthermore, a master's chaotic mental state severely poisons their beast's condition. These were fundamental laws of combat every academy student should memorize. Lixing's mind fractured with rage. How could a pathetic rookie possess a copper-rank beast and flawlessly block his ultimate assault with mere defensive maneuvers? Cursing the heavens for this humiliation, he discarded all honor. He commanded his beast to break distance and mercilessly assassinate the little girl directly. The monstrous insect vaulted backward, rolling straight toward Shui. That violates academy regulations, the terrified instructor loudly shrieked. Yuan prayed for her evasion. Instead, Shui coldly ordered her ox to drive Rockhorns into the earth. Massive earthen cliffs suddenly erupted. The charging beetle violently crashed into the newly forged terrain, tumbling helplessly toward the absolute edge of the arena. Destiny was sealed. Despair warped Lixing's arrogant face as the judge officially declared Shui victorious. The entire first-year class erupted in deafening, triumphant cheers. Revelation struck the instructor. The continuous Rockhorns were secretly stockpiling terrain advantages, culminating in an earth-shattering trap to topple the beetle. This genius rookie spectacularly surpassed expectations. She slammed Yuan's back with absolute joy, praising his legendary eye for beasts. Yuan wheezed, begging the excited teacher to restrain her monstrous physical strength. Shui sprinted into her brother's arms for an embrace. Amidst his praise, she adorably demanded his mysterious wealth's origin. Did he secretly pawn their family shop? How would they fund his life-saving treatments without money? Devastating worry clouded her innocent eyes. He smiled gently, swearing his incurable illness had vanished, and their business was spectacularly thriving. The instructor politely interrupted their tender reunion, pressed for time. With such monstrous talent, the academy intended to bypass normal protocols. They officially recommended Shuer for the legendary Violet Thorns 100 Suns preliminary tournament. The Violet Thorns marked the first brutal regional battleground, serving as a vital stepping stone toward the glorious Radiant Federation's 100 Suns Ultimate Selection. That was the absolute pinnacle of all national-tier competitions. Despite being a mere first-year rookie, her divine potential easily qualified her to clash with the elite in the Violet Thorns preliminaries. The Academy would unlock its entire vault of supreme resources for her cultivation, guaranteeing explosive growth. Yuan bowed respectfully, deeply grateful for her guidance. He made an unbreakable vow to dedicate his very soul toward cultivating Shue's spirit beasts and securing mythical resources. Nurturing a peerless genius is my sacred duty, the instructor smiled warmly. She granted Shuer permission to skip afternoon classes and guide her brother through the academy. Yuan's heart ached for the yellow-spotted hound. Thankfully, his mentor stepped up, promising to raise the beast herself. Sharing some snacks, Yuan proudly declared his newfound spirit aura sensing. He challenged her, asking what further proof she truly desired. She demanded visual proof to ease her anxious heart. She understood the Ironhorned rhino ox must have cost a staggering fortune. He revealed his balance, and her eyes widened in absolute shock at the unbelievable trail of zeros displayed. He explained that upon his aura's restoration, a hidden creator talent awakened within him, securing a lucrative job and vast wealth. He urged her to focus entirely on her elite studies and dominate the upcoming tournament rankings. Relieved of her grueling part-time jobs, he then boldly declared his ambition to crush the creator certification exam. Pure joy overwhelmed her spirit. He warmly invited her for a grand celebratory feast. She excitedly demanded a blazing hot pot feast. He smiled, ready to grant her any culinary desire. Meanwhile, the kind mentor offered meat buns to the spotted hound. Honestly, this teacher is the ultimate hero of our tale. Yuan summoned Ostrich Logistics for his return journey. Riding back, a fiery determination ignited within him to match Shue's newfound academic momentum. The grueling exams showed no mercy. He resolved to acquire the foundational texts for spirit creature research and material analysis right away. The mountain of reading was simply overwhelming. He considered enlisting Smarty's brilliant intellect for support. In the fierce arena, though Shuer exploited the damage reflection mechanic perfectly, her boundless spirit aura truly formed the unbreakable foundation of her glorious victory. Yet compared to her overwhelming power, his meager aura reserves barred him from the realm of true professionals. Upgrading, Mobius demanded overcoming the brutal conditions of the lock spirit trait. He had to agonizingly start from normal grade level 1. He gasped in shock as they suddenly blasted forward. To earn 5-star praise, the driver recklessly unleashed the black-winged falcon's absolute top speed, apologizing for his previous terrifying delays. Yuan mentioned his lingering shopping quests, and the driver swiftly suggested utilizing Starnet via Ostrich Logistics for instant delivery. Upon arriving home, the poor majestic beast was utterly exhausted. Yuan anxiously checked on the faltering beast. The confident driver quickly swore that everything was perfectly under control. With the rapid journey complete and his cargo safe, the grateful driver eagerly pleaded for a glowing 5-star review. Yuan promised his praise and thanked their dedication. Inside, an absolute mountain of mysterious delivery boxes awaited his triumphant return. He envisioned a digital empire to entirely bypass the dangerous spirit markets. Throwing the doors wide, he proudly announced his grand return home. Smarty and Yin Yin rushed to greet him. Smarty desperately wanted snuggles, but stubbornly recalled his sworn duty to remain fiercely furious. Yin Yin chirped at him to drop the grudge after their thrilling flight. Yuan solemnly vowed to take the proud creature along next time. Smarty's iron-willed stubbornness held strong. Not even the heavenly scent of braised pork could break him. Yuan secretly found this childish tantrum amusing, but came fully prepared for battle. He triumphantly revealed a legendary peace offering for the beast. The instant Yuan cracked the divine feline feast, its heavenly aroma completely demolished Smarty's remaining willpower. Thus, his fierce grudge instantly dissolved. Yuan promised an eternal daily supply of this glorious ambrosia if it pleased his demanding palate. Yin Yin eagerly demanded her own treasure. Beaming, Yuan presented a rare elite-grade green creeper, secured exclusively for her enjoyment. That mystical pot became her exclusive daily ration. She gasped in absolute shock, as he had strictly forbidden her from devouring such luxury before. Spotting the towering boxes, Smarty questioned if Yuan would skip the feast. He urged them to devour the banquet while he tackled his colossal inventory. Moments later, a veritable forest of mystical pots consumed the shop. Even Smarty was utterly dumbfounded by the sheer volume. He nervously confessed miscalculating the massive haul. Suddenly, Yin Yin's sharp gaze locked onto a mysterious, anomalous plant hidden within. A golden card revealed a jaw-dropping bonus. Buying 100 creepers unlocked a free elite Lily Luara. He simply could not believe this insane promotional windfall. Revelation struck like lightning. Yuan recalled his ultimate affinity belonged to healing, supportive, and mystical plant-type spirit companions. His eyes blazed with intense ambition. This healing-type botanical beast, possessing incredible restorative powers at normal grade, was his absolute perfect match. He commanded his loyal pets to guard the green creepers below. Ascending to his sanctuary, Yuan prepared to unleash his true potential. He activated his legendary lock spirit technique. Exhaustion ravaged his mental reserves, but with the ritual initiated, there was absolutely no turning back from destiny. Finally, the sacred lock spirit sequence finished. He smiled, absolutely thrilled that his mind suffered zero devastating drain this time. Pumping relentless aura, his chain-leveling madness began. Just 1 hour later, the fragile Lily Luara transcended into an elite grade, level 1 legendary marvel. Unleashing potent magic, it healed brutal external wounds. Yuan sighed, profoundly grateful the grueling evolution was finished. He closely inspected Mobius. Its dark origins remained veiled, yet it miraculously hit elite grade level 1, boasting absolute legendary quality. Though its skills stagnated, a blinding luminescence suddenly erupted. Without warning, Yuan was violently sucked straight into Mobius's mystical dimension. The dimension had massively expanded. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoed, asking Yuan if he could hear its call. He boldly confirmed his presence, warmly welcoming Mobius back after their long separation. Truly, a profound mini-lesson from Master Zhu. Forming a soul pact with a beast devours a master's mental energy. Most tamers bond 2 or 3 creatures in their lifetime. The absolute limit is 5. Spirit Lock was Mobius's legendary exclusive trait. It mimics a perfect soul bond without draining the master's mind. Instead, the absolute burden of the pact was shouldered entirely by Mobius himself. The absolute limit of bonded beasts? It scaled entirely with Mobius's own level-ups, the heavy toll. For 10 agonizing years after their bond, Yuan's spiritual chi sensing became absolute zero. His mental sea was completely crippled. Even now, his condition wasn't exactly legendary. Shifting focus, Yuan stared in awe. He asked Mobius if his voice was truly real. Breaking through to the elite grade unlocked his speech. The ancient design of Mobius was truly a breathtaking masterpiece. Yuan questioned if this pocket dimension was another exclusive power. Mobius confirmed. As master, Yuan could reshape this realm and store endless spirit beasts. Yuan eyed the mysterious pool. Why couldn't he sense even a single drop of spiritual chi from it? Mobius admitted it held 0 spiritual energy. It was literally just neuronal water. Seeing Yuan's absolute confusion, Mobius chuckled. Water attracts boundless fortune. This system definitely had a cheeky personality. Amused, Yuan tossed an item into the clear pool. Exactly as he theorized, even trash-tier energy stones from common flower pots instantly began radiating pure spiritual chi. In the outside world, spiritual energy naturally bleeds into the air. Achieving 100% absorption efficiency is mathematically impossible. But this spirit lock realm perfectly sealed the aura. Tossing in premium energy stones would create a breathtakingly dense paradise of spiritual chi over time. Yuan's heart raced with exhilaration. Evolving his spirit beasts in this sacred domain would multiply his training speed to godly levels. Mobius validated his epic theory. Furthermore, ranking up would massively extend this spatial realm's active duration. But reality hit hard. This divine cultivation required an ocean of Federation coins. Even trash-tier energy stones cost a fortune, let alone premium cultivation gems. Amassing wealth was his absolute priority now. Suddenly, Mobius's spectral form began fading. Panic surged through Yuan's chest. What went wrong? The spirit quickly calmed him. It was no crisis. He could only sustain this pure telepathic connection for 30 minutes a day. His daily awakening limit had expired. As Yuan's first ever bonded beast, guilt weighed heavily on his soul. He deeply apologized for paralyzing Yuan's spiritual chi and mental sea for 10 whole years. Yuan smiled warmly. Those 10 brutal years forged his unshakable will. Besides, the flames of hope were reignited, and his path to supremacy was just beginning. His ultimate trial had officially started. But right now, overwhelming exhaustion claimed victory. Yuan instantly collapsed into a deep, dreamless slumber. Dawn broke. He unleashed his healing arts upon the green creepers while Smarty lazily browsed the web. Yuan grinded relentlessly for several grueling days. By the time he finished, the midnight moon hung high. Yin Yin and Smarty were completely knocked out. Moving silently, he channeled divine healing into the twin web-spraying spiders. They were fully restored from the brink, a glorious reward for his intense cultivation grind. 7 suns later, Brother Yang stood trembling before Yuan's modest shop. He prayed to the heavens for a single miracle to reverse his tragic fate. Reality sank in. Forcing a master to cultivate 100 green creepers so quickly was an absolutely insane demand. Finding a beast shop backed by a true creator was already heaven-defying luck. He pushed the door open. Yuan was already waiting like a sage. Yuan's instant agreement to their impossible trade had been his only lifeline. With a knowing smile, the young master guided him inside. Yang desperately braced himself. Even 30 finished pots would be enough to save his life. It would barely keep his new beast-breeding empire from collapsing. His gaze snapped to the right. Pots overflowing with life. He glanced left. An ocean of flourishing greenery. Vibrant life flooded every inch of the room. Yuan casually announced the entire batch was perfect. Yang could freely select his required 76 from the flawless 100. Yang's jaw hit the floor. This young master had literally pulled him back from the abyss. Yuan merely chuckled, waving off the dramatic praise. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Yang swore to pay whatever astronomical price was named. But Yuan calmly stated the original deal stood perfectly fine. Tears welled in Yang's eyes. He had encountered a true hidden dragon. He swore absolute brotherhood right then and there, transferring the full original amount instantly. Before departing, Yang made a solemn vow. Once his breeding empire dominated the market, Yuan had to grace it as an honored guest. Any legendary treasures he unearthed? They would immediately be offered to Yuan first. Watching Yang leave floating on air, a realization hit Yuan. The creator path was an absolute goldmine. Facing his barren shop, it was time for a massive restock. He turned to Smarty. Had the pet cracked the complex Starnet registration he assigned days ago? Suddenly, Smarty screeched in absolute terror. Disaster had struck. Yuan's heart dropped as he lunged forward. Tears streamed down Smarty's face. The tragic news? He had grown too chubby and couldn't stuff his face with energy biscuits. Yuan facepalmed, comforting the dramatic beast. It was just a fluffy coat. Scanning the system panel, he realized Smarty had gloriously evolved to elite rank. Did the evolution boost his brain power? Smarty puffed out his chest. He proudly claimed it was purely his own heaven-defying natural genius. His brain capacity skyrocketed. Previously, his memory held 1 energy biscuit's worth of data. Now, he could process a massive 5-biscuit payload. Yuan chuckled at the bizarre evolution. The pet's supreme obsession shifted from braised pork to magical biscuits. Patting his head, Yuan warned him. His divine hacking skills would be needed very soon. "Leave it to me," Smarty declared with absolute confidence. Meanwhile, Yuan searched for Yin Yin. Suddenly, her panicked cries shattered the peace. Ah, this familiar routine. Yuan already anticipated the drama. Yin Yin fluttered in, terrified that her tiny body had somehow shrunk. "Am I dying?" she wailed. But Smarty smoothly interjected, explaining it was simply an evolution. He glanced at Yuan for final confirmation. Yuan checked the system interface. Her stats confirmed the truth. Elite grade, level 2. She awakened Sound Spike, an acoustic projectile strike, plus turbulence, a wing-generated hurricane. These weren't support skills, they were built for pure combat. But why no singing abilities? Yuan wondered. Sheepishly, Smarty confessed. They had been secretly testing her new powers. Smarty revealed a heavily battered wooden board. Did Sound Spike cause this damage? Yuan asked. Yin Yin proudly chirped, admitting they trained while he was away. Eager for action, Smarty proposed another live demonstration to test her newfound destructive power. Smarty bravely held the target. Yin Yin warned him of the point-blank danger, but Yuan initiated the trial. "Your aim is flawless," Smarty cheered. Boom! As Yin Yin unleashed her attack, Smarty's eyes bulged in pure terror. He instantly regretted everything. This was incredibly lethal. Yuan chuckled, patting the trembling pet's head. Next came turbulence. Yin Yin's shockwave instantly obliterated the plank. The devastation absolutely eclipsed her normal grade strength. The truth was undeniable. Yin Yin had become an authentic, battle-ready combat spirit beast. Later, Yuan signed for a fresh delivery of supplies. Unfazed by his earlier terror, Smarty bet Yin Yin's attacks could now pierce solid iron. Yuan immediately shut that down. The excessive training had already drained Yin Yin's stamina completely dry. Ordering her to rest, Yuan reminded Smarty that as a 100-question beast, his unique intellectual talents were about to be tested. "Give me my mission," Smarty declared bravely. With a smirk, Yuan ordered him to feed the terrifying web-spraying spiders. Smarty trembled violently, terrified of a venomous bite. Yuan noted that arachnophobia was a primal instinct shared by most spirit creatures. Having had enough fun teasing him, Yuan stepped in to help. Afterward, he tasked Smarty with logging the shop's entire spirit beast inventory. The shop's data management now belonged solely to Smarty. But suddenly, Smarty gasped as the 2 web-spraying spiders began radiating intense glows. A vibrant emerald aura on the left, a deep violet hue on the right. Yuan's eyes narrowed. This was the legendary precursor to rank advancement. Thick silk erupted, sealing them inside massive evolution cocoons. Smarty watched in sheer awe, amazed that Yuan triggered a double breakthrough. Yuan brushed off the praise, recalling the Ironhorned rhino ox. These beasts were already on the verge of evolution, merely delayed by life-threatening injuries. Once their lost vitality was restored, this explosive evolutionary breakthrough was destined to happen. 2 tense hours later, the spiders emerged. The first beast had awakened, the fearsome path of prehistoric reversion. It awakened fierce poison, lacing its entire body in silk with deadly venom. The second spider underwent a rare spiritual mutation, manifesting sticky web. This granted ultimate battlefield control with inescapable silk. Smarty was completely blown away by these drastically different, yet equally devastating paths. I didn't foresee this either, Yuan admitted. It seemed Brother Yang had secretly established a flawless foundation for these beasts. Time to cash in? Smarty asked, readying the newly registered Starnet shop. Logging into the virtual network, Yuan paused at the blank storefront naming field. Smarty had saved that honor just for his master. With a few keystrokes, Yuan registered as Deep Mountain Old Forest, launching the no-loss spirit creature store. Smarty practically sweat-dropped. All that intense bureaucratic paperwork, only to end up with such a painfully old-fashioned name. Ignoring the critique, Yuan checked on their hardware. The Starnet receiver installation was nearing completion. Now it was time to put their Starnet card to the test. The card scanner worked like high-tech magic. After successfully digitizing their equipment, Yuan confidently marched into the spider enclosure for the final scan. Wait, do we scan the lethal spiders too? Smarty asked, gulping nervously. They are the main inventory, Yuan laughed, playfully aiming the scanner at Smarty. Suddenly, reality dissolved around them, and the world instantly shifted. Where are we? Smarty gasped in shock. Yuan smirked proudly. Welcome to our very own Starnet storefront. Those grueling applications weren't for a basic web page. Smarty's jaw dropped at the staggering virtual architecture. This digital domain was double the size of their home. Starnet wasn't just code. It was a flawless bridge between reality and the digital realm. Physical space seamlessly transformed into breathtaking virtual immersion. But the shop was totally barren. When Smarty questioned the missing furniture, Yuan dropped the harsh truth. Starnet cosmetics cost serious real-world cash. Cold, hard capitalism at its finest. Mastering the digital system interface, Yuan led his tiny companion directly into the bustling Starnet community hub. Stick close, Yuan ordered, but Smarty was already drooling. His eyes locked onto a massive virtual pig, imagining at least 80 glorious plates of braised pork. Shaking off his hunger, Smarty frantically pointed at a gleaming virtual shop, a premium furniture store. Time to upgrade their empty shop. Inside, a high-tech AI robot greeted them, offering customization options. Smarty's eyes sparkled at the futuristic technology. Yuan requested 2 elegant flower stands and a sleek 1.5-meter counter. The robot smoothly guided them over, but the exorbitant price tag left them paralyzed. Instant rejection. Yuan firmly decided against the purchase. Even with overflowing pockets, burning funds on cosmetic pixels felt like an absolute scam. Defeat wasn't an option. Smarty pumped his fists with fiery determination. With 120% effort, he vowed to just handcraft everything himself. Yuan commanded the AI drone to find budget chairs. Their upcoming guests needed decent seating at the very least. But they cost a staggering 15,000. Smarty attempted haggling to 1,000 Federation coins. The unyielding machine coldly rejected his unauthorized request. Smarty pouted, devastated by the failed negotiation. Yuan gently patted him, assuring him it was not his fault. You just cannot reason with a soulless machine. Next stop, the Grand Bookstore. Smarty tilted his head in confusion. Yuan declared his ambition to conquer the creator exam. Buying textbooks was an absolute must. The towering shelves instantly overwhelmed him, leaving Smarty to choose. Smarty rattled off titles to the AI clerk. They secured an impressive 327 volumes, complete with a bonus catalog. The system prompted for packaging options. Yuan ordered the massive library compressed into a single knowledge chip, directly routed home. The AI demanded a strict confidentiality agreement. He swore the sacred text would only be shared among direct bloodlines. Violating this meant facing the absolute wrath of the Creators Association. Mission accomplished. They teleported back to base. Yuan praised the AI's flawless efficiency. Hiring a mechanical guardian for his own shop sounded incredibly tempting. A startled gasp echoed as they materialized. Seeing his spatial teleportation, a young girl questioned if he was the boss. She whined about his lack of a service droid. She had been waiting endlessly like a fool for his return. He offered a humble apology. His newly opened shop simply lacked the funds for an automated guardian just yet. Inwardly, Yuan grumbled. This arrogant brat was Chu's exact age. Calling him uncle, she haughtily demanded the price of his 2 spiders. Uncle? The sheer audacity shattered his pride. Ignoring his shock, she commanded him to appraise the arachnid beasts immediately. She smugly warned against overcharging, mocking his shop's no-loss signboard. Smarty practically died laughing at the uncle remark. Regaining his aura, Yuan pointed. The slender-legged beast was a web-spraying spider, armed with the exclusive trait, Sticky Web. She scoffed at the non-lethal beast. Next up, a venomous green variant, pulsing with the deadly exclusive trait, Fierce Poison. Shock violently threw her off balance. She crashed down, knocking her beekeeper hat away to reveal a completely bald head. Yuan instantly envisioned a shiny braised egg. Choking back laughter, he maintained his stoic, absolute professional merchant persona. But Smarty bluntly shouted, "Braised egg!" Yuan froze in sheer horror. The panicked girl grabbed her exposed, hairless scalp. Her face flushed crimson. She desperately claimed it was just medical fallout from a ghostly thorn bristle spider's venomous sting. Her hair would return in mere months. She furiously roared that she was absolutely not a braised egg. That cursed spider sounded vaguely familiar to Yuan. He curiously asked if she sought arachnid-type spirit beasts. Silence hung heavy. His relentless questioning only fueled her blazing irritation. She vehemently despised spider beasts. Baffled, Yuan questioned why she would hunt them and risk death against a terrifying ghostly thorn bristle spider. Gritting her teeth, she confessed her innate destiny, a strictly arachnid-exclusive affinity. Yuan sighed internally. The heavens truly had a cruel sense of humor when assigning elemental affinities. An intense arachnophobe, cursed by fate to only form soul contracts with the very creatures she loathed. However, Arachnida was a vast evolutionary tree. Her potential combat pathways were actually limitless and terrifying. Surviving that venomous sting proved one crucial detail. She wielded the supreme, life-saving power of extreme wealth. Honestly, if it were him, he would just dig a hole and surrender to the abyss. Disappointed, she turned to leave. Yuan blocked her path. For combat, control, and poison were elite, highly sought-after traits. She sneered. Those basic web-spraying traits were absolute garbage in her eyes. She demanded an arachnid beast, boasting supreme battlefield control. Her sheer arrogance left Yuan completely speechless. Power was not the issue. She intended to forcefully grind for the legendary transparent web trait, willing to burn fortunes on elite epic-tier custom orders. Yuan instantly analyzed her. Overwhelmingly rich and impossibly stubborn. Transparent web was a mythic-level drop rate. Even wealthy contractors could massacre 20 spiders without a single lucky manifestation. But Yuan smirked, his hidden system pulsing. He confidently declared he could secure the impossible beast. "How many do you need?" Insulted, she glared, demanding if he thought she was some gullible, naive child. A handsome face would not easily conquer her supreme skepticism. Annoyance flared, but her unexpected compliment instantly stroked his ego. He vowed to secure this massive payday. Playing hard to get, Yuan shrugged. "Suit your stubborn self. Perhaps after exhausting 100 pathetic shops, destiny might finally grant her that elusive spider." "Wait!" She grabbed his sleeve. Suspicions wavering, she nervously asked if he truly possessed a hidden method. With a calm smile, he declared that without trust, this deal was dead in the water. Compromising, she proposed swapping Starnet contacts. Once he secured the custom web-spraying spiders, she would return to finalize the purchase. His strategic retreat was a masterclass in negotiation, flawlessly giving him the absolute upper hand. A veteran in handling stubborn clients, he completely rejected her compromise. He boldly commanded her to return only when she was truly ready to spend. Pouting adorably, she quickly begged him to swallow his blazing anger. Pointing fiercely at his bare storefront, she confessed her absolute fear of getting completely scammed. But she relentlessly insisted on swapping contacts, swearing she wouldn't haggle a single coin if his custom work succeeded. Yielding to her demands, Yuan finally agreed. Their Starnet cards clicked in a flash of light. Staring at his username, she immediately burst into giggles. Scanning her tag, Cloudstream, he casually mentioned the shark eagles nesting there. Furious, she snapped back, calling him an absolute idiot for insulting her taste. Sparks flew as their hilarious banter escalated. Yuan easily seized total dominance by reminding her who held the power he was the master crafter, forging her precious web-spraying spiders. Flustered, she screamed at him to drop the attitude, fiercely declaring herself the VIP client bringing absolute wealth to his doorstep. 10 radiant coins instantly transferred into his account. Leaving the challenge in his hands, she departed. Yuan stood absolutely paralyzed by her overwhelming financial power. At 2 radiant coins per custom beast, this mysterious girl had just casually bankrolled 5 entire orders without batting a single eyelash. Smarty's robotic eyes blazed like supernovas at the massive fortune. Believing their days of poverty were finally over, he instantly dreamed of buying Yin Yin, the ultimate high-tech sound system. Bringing them back to harsh reality, Yuan sighed. This fortune was merely a frozen deposit, utterly locked away until every single one of her impossible demands was met. Until absolute victory was achieved, the official Starnet treasury held their wealth hostage. Thankfully, Brother Yang's recent payment provided a desperately needed lifeline. Bracing himself, Yuan pulled up the brutal market prices for raw web-spraying spiders. Shockingly, acquiring 5 elite-grade beasts would drain an entire radiant coin. Confused, Smarty questioned why the terrifying market value had suddenly crashed by a third. Brother Yang's 3.3 radiant coins were already slipping away like water. Analyzing the ruthless path of traditional cultivation, Yuan deeply dreaded the catastrophic financial drain that buying raw spirit materials would inevitably demand from his wallet. The terrifying truth clicked that Braised Egg Girl knew exactly why she dropped 10 radiant coins so effortlessly. Confronting their pathetic financial reality, Smarty slumped in utter despair. How could their tiny, miserable Starnet shop ever hope to survive this brutal market? Yuan offered a confident smirk, reminding him their new intelligent store clerk would ease the burden. Still, strict survival rationing was their absolute law. Expanding their territory would be another terrifying financial black hole. Smarty groaned in pure doubt their storefront was completely dead, guarded only by a laughably outdated clunker of a robot. Demanding absolute optimism, Yuan pointed toward a glorious future. He swore that conquering the Braised Egg Girl's legendary order would single-handedly unlock an unstoppable tidal wave of future wealth for their tiny enterprise. That pep talk utterly failed. Shoulders drooping in absolute defeat, the gloomy companion trudged upstairs to find solace with Yin Yin instead. Swearing upon his pride to conquer their debts swiftly, Yuan turned his attention inward, summoning the legendary Mobius. Diving into his soul space, he sought counsel for his next critical lock spirit evolution. But the ancient mentor instantly shut down his rising excitement, refusing the request with a stern voice. Mobius delivered a brutal lecture on financial survival, demanding absolute resource control. Yuan fiercely countered only through explosive power-ups could they hope to dominate the market and multiply their wealth. Unveiling his grand master plan, Yuan revealed his chosen target for the crucial lock spirit advancement, humbly seeking the ancient entity's sacred judgment. The ultimate target? A spirit siphon goldfish. Shockingly, the usually strict Mobius gave an easy, immediate nod of absolute approval to this unexpected choice. But a chilling warning followed. Evolving this beast would gorge on 10 times the spiritual energy compared to any ordinary creature in existence. Yuan accepted the terrifying cost without a flinch. Deep down, he knew the truth whenever his fragile mind faced annihilation. Mobius silently sacrificed everything to shield his soul. Driven by an unbreakable bond of gratitude, Yuan swore to restore his mentor's shattered ancient power by any means necessary. Their sacred pact forged, Yuan slammed his consciousness back into the Starnet terminal. What he witnessed next left him absolutely breathless. A singular search query unleashed a dazzling holographic avenue, completely flooded with towering emporiums dedicated to spirit siphon goldfish. Sadly, these flashy merchants peddled nothing but pathetic normal-grade trash. Yuan hungered for the legendary potential of a true elite-grade beast. Manipulating the advanced Starnet algorithm, he rapidly filtered out the garbage. Instantly, an awe-inspiring monolithic storefront materialized in his vision, radiating pure wealth just 800 meters away. Stepping inside revealed a breathtaking mastery of spatial magic. Elite creatures were displayed like royal treasures, accompanied by state-of-the-art holographic data interfaces. The store's majestic architecture was a literal masterclass in absolute commercial dominance. An elegant woman gracefully approached, stepping in as his personal guide. With her staff currently on leave, she offered her VIP expertise directly to him. Finding a flesh and blood host instead of a soulless AI was a refreshing shock. The beauty bowed elegantly, revealing herself as the grand proprietress, Shin. Stating his grand mission to capture a spirit siphon goldfish, she offered a knowing smile and gracefully guided him deeper into the aquatic sanctuary. She unveiled a glowing crystal pool swarming with normal-grade specimens. Every single fragile creature carried a steep price tag of 0.5 radiant coins. But ruling the waters was a monstrous crimson beast, double the size of its peers. This elite-grade titan commanded a jaw-dropping 5 radiant coins. The legends were absolutely true. The beast radiated an overwhelming torrent of restorative chi, thickening the very air around them. Yet, that catastrophic price tag froze his blood. Even a bottom-tier goldfish completely dwarfed the cost of an elite web-spraying spider. His grand dream of instantly securing an elite beast shattered against the harsh wall of reality. Catching his disappointed gaze, Shin dropped a massive bombshell. These outrageously priced specimens were actually the absolute lowest tier her prestigious shop offered. Superior lineages demanded at least 7 radiant coins, an absolute fortune. Normal tier goldfish shared one fixed price. Since their evolutionary paths were notoriously cursed, practically 0 breeders dared to accept awakening commissions. Yuan bowed in gratitude. He respectfully called her boss, but she merely chuckled, demanding he use the title Sister Shin instead. She then questioned if aesthetics alone guided his final selection. Chasing true potential, Yuan instinctively targeted the Dragon Eye variant. Should an ancestral awakening trigger its draconic bloodline, this humble beast would effortlessly conquer the Dragon Gate. Could lightning strike twice, mirroring his miraculous rhino ox triumph? Shaking off such greedy delusions, he sharpened his ultimate focus. His true agenda? Testing the locked spirit space's absolute growth acceleration. Success meant securing an invincible foundation for his shop. He locked in his destiny. Sister Shin nodded, instantly inquiring about his remaining desires. Recalling the spirit chi void within his domain's sacred pool, Yuan ruthlessly committed to hoarding massive reserves of raw energy ores. A tempting bulk discount dropped the terrifying cost to 500 Federation coins per caddy. Buying 2,000 caddies stunned her completely. Unfazed, Yuan casually presented his star card for an instantaneous scan. Recovering her composure, she promised Ostrich Logistics would swiftly transport his monumental haul homeward. Such a monstrous transaction firmly branded him as a legendary VIP in her calculating eyes. For nourishing his spirit siphon gluttons, she highly recommended the magical essence of premium butterfly shells. Despite their steep price tag, their miraculous evolution-boosting properties were absolute. Yuan humbly accepted her masterclass wisdom. His wallet bled dry, agonizingly draining his final radiant coins. Yet, this treasure trove guaranteed 3 to 5 months of absolute beastly gluttony. Seeking an alliance, she proposed a Starnet friendship. This direct link guaranteed VIP access to her secret inventory forever. If his wealth matched his ambition, she could procure miracles. Yuan accepted this profound honor without hesitation. Euphoria surged through him. Bypassing the savage market for rare treasures was an absolute game-changer. Before he could speak, she flawlessly predicted his future hunger for energy ores, butterfly shells, and a legion of spirit-siphoned goldfish. Yuan smirked, confirming that even inferior-grade energy ores perfectly suited his grand design. While supreme ores brimmed with pure spirit chi, inferior ones barely sustained normal or elite-tier creatures' basic survival. His terrifying consumption rate sparked her boundless curiosity. Just how monstrous was his hidden breeding empire? Truly, the heavens favored his ruthless ambition. Ensnaring Yuan's loyalty meant an eternal golden river flowing straight into her ambitious storefront. To cement their glorious partnership, she suddenly unveiled an exclusive VIP privilege meant only for supreme allies. Yuan's curiosity ignited. Beyond trading rare creatures, she whispered of a forbidden underground supply, acquiring heavily injured, untamed beasts. These dying titans offered premium, ultra-fresh spiritual ingredients. Yuan's eyes burned with greed. Questioning their arrival, he learned a new shipment dropped in exactly 3 weeks, pending Starnet alerts. By then, his treasury would overflow. This golden opportunity promised absolute market domination. Breaking from his trance, he noticed the eerie silence. An empty shop of this caliber? Impossible. Such sacred grounds shouldn't be deserted. She revealed the ultimate spectacle. The Sequence 100 Suns tournament clashing atop the legendary Starry Sky Tower. The entire city had vanished to witness this bloodshed. Yuan gasped. Was it the infamous Violet Thorn's 100 Suns? Shaking her head, she dropped a bombshell. This was the supreme radiant 100 Suns of the almighty Radiant Federation. With fire in his veins, Yuan departed. Promising swift delivery, she watched him vanish. He frantically hunted down Starnet tickets, praying a high platform seat remained. Missing this epic war was unthinkable. Sprinting wildly, he craved a glimpse of the Radiant Federation's most terrifying young prodigies. Just how vast was the crushing power gap separating these titans from Chu Chi? The celestial arena pierced the heavens, radiating earth-shattering roars that shook the very atmosphere. Why did the Starnet enforce such grueling physical climbs? Gasping for air, he finally breached the peak. Thank the heavens, high-tier access remained unrestricted. Deafened by the thunderous crowd, he desperately sought the object of their worship. Suddenly, he spotted Cloudstream, the manic bee girl. Startled by his voice, she rapidly swung her heavy binoculars around. Realizing Yuan stood practically on top of her, she bluntly mocked his colossal face. Annoyed, Yuan ordered her to drop the lenses. Cloudstream wildly claimed 0 rules forbade dual loyalty. Whoever claimed absolute victory, her chaotic heart would rejoice. She then demanded Yuan's personal allegiance. Stealing her shameless logic, Yuan boldly declared his absolute neutrality. This answer delighted her instantly. Bursting into laughter, she praised his impeccable taste, recognizing his deep mountain old forest persona. Yuan smirked, acknowledging both warriors' godly aura. The truth was rather mundane. He was utterly clueless about their identities. Thrilled beyond measure, she unexpectedly snatched his hand. Reality hit her instantly. She yanked her fingers back, clicking her tongue to mask her burning embarrassment. Yuan felt utterly wronged. She initiated the contact, after all. Apologetically, she tossed him a telescope, ensuring he witnessed every breathtaking clash of the impending duel. Mere audio commentary would not suffice, she insisted. Yuan gladly accepted the tool, offering his sincere gratitude. Despite her clumsy demeanor, her heart was surprisingly pure. Peering through the lens, he instantly recognized two vastly clashing martial philosophies upon the battlefield. The divine healing beasts immediately captivated his gaze. Cloudstream eagerly questioned who would claim ultimate victory. Yuan wagered on the superior sequence ranking. Furthermore, both warriors had already unleashed their formidable gold-rank spiritual beasts. The crimson-streaked warrior stepped forth. Her monstrous bear companion roared, manifesting a devastating palm strike of molten fury. A terrifying tsunami of hellfire erupted, mercilessly swallowing the enemy beast whole. Unfazed, the elegant opponent countered instantly. She ordered her sacred snow tree to cast frost upon the soul grass. Frigid winds purged the raging inferno. The magma beast's explosive momentum was completely obliterated in an instant. The fiery warrior immediately grasped the opponent's impenetrable synergy. Yet retreat was never an option in her vocabulary. She commanded a catastrophic explosive charge to suppress the sacred tree. The blazing titan charged, clad in roaring hellfire. Demonic claws shattered the earth, obliterating the battlefield. Yuan marveled at this awe-inspiring display of absolute destruction. Cloudstream revealed Lady Shiranui possessed an explosive assault class, whereas Lady White Devil mastered the divine healing arts. Shiranui undoubtedly dominated in sheer overwhelming pressure, yet panic was unnecessary. White Devil possessed a vastly superior sequence ranking. Her true identity was Daisy. Feared as the White Devil, she proudly held the legendary sequence rank 18. Channeling divine restoration, she instantly suppressed the fiery beast's rampage. Conversely, Anna, known as Shiranui, ranked 47. Anna smirked in admiration. Surviving her apocalyptic barrage while flawlessly stabilizing dual spiritual beasts was truly terrifying. However, her storm of destruction was far from over. Suffocated by dual titan strikes, the sacred tree desperately blocked. The breathless audience wondered if the scales of destiny were tipping. The grueling deathmatch raged relentlessly. Anna smirked arrogantly, mocking Daisy's visibly depleted spiritual energy reserves. Yuan pondered deeply. Despite superior rank, was divine healing truly doomed against raw, unadulterated assault power? Daisy smiled serenely. The chasm separating rank 18 from 47 was an insurmountable wall, she declared. Frost magic erupted. Her beast's spiritual aura exploded violently, commanding the soul grass to unleash the ultimate absolute zero seal. The magma titan roared in agony, instantly entombed in glacial chains. Anna's eyes widened in genuine awe. Unleashing apocalyptic magic after such exhaustion was monstrous. The fiery titans became frozen statues, though Daisy's sacred flora also teetered on the brink of total collapse. Cloudstream swallowed hard. White Devil perfectly blocked Shiranui's onslaught, but that fragile glacial prison would eventually shatter. Upon shattering, Shiranui would unleash devastating vengeance. But Yuan smiled knowingly. White Devil ruled the healing arts. Exactly as predicted, Daisy manifested the divine butterfly, unleashing resurrection wings. Spiritual life force exploded outward. The breathless crowd gasped as catastrophic wounds vanished into thin air. Their fighting spirit reignited magnificently. Anna threw her head back, laughing in pure disbelief. Yet, she roared her inevitable victory. Suddenly, a miracle. Her beast shattered its limits, evolving into a legendary platinum flaming titan. Daisy confessed this miraculous evolution was entirely beyond her calculations. Yet, her unyielding spirit remained unshaken. Swarms of crimson butterflies instantly flooded the bloodstained battlefield. Anna smirked wickedly. No pathetic trick could pierce her ultimate flaming strike, a flawless hybrid technique forged specifically to obliterate Daisy. Daisy maintained absolute silence, allowing her lethal swarm to strike. The insects ruthlessly impaled the flaming titan. The giant screamed in sheer agony as fountains of blood erupted from delayed explosive damage. Anna's blood ran cold. Witnessing her beast collapse, she fell to her knees as the announcer crowned White Devil Daisy victorious. A Stairway Glory Star was claimed. Smiling bitterly, Anna confessed she never anticipated that golden butterfly awakening a legendary fantasy bloodline. She honorably accepted her absolute defeat. Smiling warmly, Daisy offered a hand. It wasn't merely a revival beast anymore. Upon grasping its fantasy evolution, it birthed the apocalyptic calamity butterfly. She urged her proud rival upward, gesturing to the roaring spectators. The entire stadium exploded into deafening applause. Cloudstream shook Yuan violently, screaming that White Devil was absolutely breathtaking. Though Shiranui fell, her awe-inspiring ferocity and explosive bear-taming arts left an unforgettable, burning legacy. Yuan let out a heavy breath. His sister's schoolyard scuffles were child's play compared to this absolute bloodbath. He finally grasped the terrifying combat prowess of the Radiant Federation's elite youth. The time had come for Cloudstream to depart. Before vanishing, she left him with a final warning. Do not neglect her web-spring spiders. His mind was still reeling. A mere gold rank healer, actually obliterating a platinum rank combatant, the raw potential of a fantasy breed completely defied all laws of common sense. He stared at the ancient rune glowing in his palm. This was the ultimate key to unlocking a legendary fantasy breed evolution. And by some stroke of absolute fate, it resonated perfectly with healing-type spirit beasts. But his only healer right now was Lily Luara. He shook his head. Reaching those legendary heights was still a distant dream. Suddenly, Yin Yin's dramatic voice broke his focus, chanting absolute poetic drivel about lonely starlight raining down, guarding faint hopes in the silent dark, stumbling blindly, yet refusing to surrender the blazing desires buried within. What on earth was this little guy singing about? Yuan pushed his door open, demanding to know what the racket was. The pets jumped. Smarty panic closed the browser, squawking about basic knocking etiquette. Yuan raised an eyebrow. Knocking on his own bedroom door? This defensive attitude only fueled his intense curiosity. Cold sweat dripped down Smarty's face. He stuttered out a flimsy excuse about hunting down sheet music for Yin Yin's vocal practice. Brushing past them, Yuan claimed the keyboard to do some crucial research. Behind his back, Yin Yin whispered to Smarty, "Mission accomplished." Their secret was safe. Smarty puffed his chest with pride. His lightning-fast reflexes and covertly registered account meant the master remained completely in the dark. Yuan scanned the brutal requirements for pushing a copper-rank beast to legendary quality. The absolute minimum requirement? A staggering grade C spirit chi. If he failed, he'd have to toss the web spring spiders straight into the online auction. At least they would still fetch a handsome fortune. Ding dong, Ostrich Logistics Courier 457 had arrived, delivering his massive Starnet haul with absolute military precision. The veteran courier barked orders at his rookie partner to haul the precious cargo. Smarty's eyes sparkled with intense curiosity. Yuan brushed it off as essential supplies for their grand expansion. The trembling girl sputtered her name as Anung, before frantically correcting herself to Rookie 3451. The towering stack of boxes wobbled dangerously. Seeing disaster looming, Yuan instantly dashed forward, offering his own strength to bear the crushing load. But it was too late. The delicate fishbowl perched on top plunged downward. Smarty dove like a feathered missile. He secured the glass, taking a massive tidal wave straight to the face. Panicked, he frantically checked for their precious cargo. Crisis averted. Yin Yin had already snatched the poor fish mid-air with flawless precision. The senior courier erupted, furiously lecturing the trembling rookie over the near catastrophe. She bowed deeply. Yuan offered a gentle smile, assuring her that even masters make mistakes. Meanwhile, Smarty practically drooled over their new aquatic friend. Staring at the towering mountains of boxes, Yin Yin's jaw dropped. Were they secretly opening a massive ore refinery? Expansion was the only path to absolute wealth. But as Yuan explained his grand vision, he noticed the rookie. Her hidden physical power was staggering. Casually hauling 2,000 caddies of pure energy ore, that was no ordinary feat for mortal flesh. Even with spirit chi enhancing her muscles, that brutal conditioning was awe-inspiring. Dismissing his pets to play, Yuan finally locked himself away for some hardcore cultivation. He threw Smarty a stern look. The legendary knowledge chips were uploaded to Starnet. It was time for the little bird to grind those study hours. Smarty gave a sharp salute, snatching up a handful of premium biscuits before fleeing the scene. Power flared as Yuan unleashed the lock spirit space. Time for an explosive evolution. Just 1 hour later, the tiny goldfish had completely outgrown its prison. He gritted his teeth. The sheer volume of spirit chi required to push from normal to elite grade was astronomical. It devoured far more than the green creeper. Yet the spiritual backlash he received in return was miserably average. No wonder this cursed spirit siphon goldfish was notoriously despised by top breeders. A headache throbbed in his temples. How on earth was he supposed to funnel an ocean of spirit chi into his space? 2 grueling days passed. The colossal beast was finally transferred into a massive spirit transformation pool, swimming with absolute freedom. Mobius's voice echoed with bitter jealousy. The fish wasn't suffocating in loneliness. Meanwhile, Mobius was constantly dragged out of his slumber for absolutely trivial matters. Yuan ruthlessly dumped another mountain of energy ores into the water. He scoffed, brutally reminding his artifact partner of his recent uselessness. His own back was breaking from hauling over 1,000 caddies of solid ore. Mobius defensively snapped back, whining about his fragile spirit body state. Finally, the supreme bottleneck was reached. The lock spirit space hummed violently, saturated to its very limit with dense spirit chi. To push past this threshold, they desperately needed another breakthrough, Mobius declared with absolute confidence. As long as his evolution didn't stop, their power ceiling would infinitely expand. But for now, the internal concentration was a staggering 5 times denser than the outside realm. Yuan's eyes burned with ambition, as the insatiable goldfish endlessly devoured the surrounding spirit chi. This little glutton was his ultimate ticket to the top. This magnificent beast would become the legendary cornerstone of his empire. But, if he could somehow trigger a dormant dragon species awakening, the world would tremble. That was exactly why he hunted down the ultra-rare dragon eye breed. Mobius quickly shattered his fantasies. Awakening that ancient lineage required pure dragon beast blood, an impossibly expensive treasure. Yuan let out a bitter sigh. As always, the ultimate enemy standing in his path was absolute poverty. The only way out was grinding spirit creature evolutions to amass a mountain of wealth. He aggressively dragged out a fresh pile of mystery boxes, instantly hooking Mobius's curiosity. Yuan revealed the legendary web-spraying spiders. Elite-grade green creepers sold well, but he needed truly unique inventory. Mobius questioned moving the beasts into the spirit lock space for their evolution. Yuan explained the secret. The spirit chi transformation inside the space flowed 5 times faster than reality. He immediately began cultivating. The beasts brilliantly broke through to epic grade, leaving him breathless with absolute relief. This epic grade breakthrough took merely 2 hours. In the outside world, such a feat required 12 agonizing hours. Suddenly, his device chimed. One spider commanded 1.1 radiant coins, while the other skyrocketed to 1.3. Fueled by success, Yuan prepared to auction the remaining duo. His immediate goal was simple: achieve his first wealth milestone. Mobius teased his growing greed for wealth. Suddenly, another system notification illuminated the screen. Lord Sun Lin tipped 500 Federation coins. The attached message demanded he maintain his daily broadcasting schedule. Yuan froze in confusion. Since when did Starnet shops accept tips? Then, realization struck like lightning. He bolted upstairs toward Yin Yin's echoing melodies. Bursting inside, he demanded the truth, startling the two culprits completely. Smarty panicked, frantically claiming they were just studying. Yuan lunged for the monitor, but the duo blocked him. His eyes widened in shock. They were secretly streaming. The chat exploded with absolute praise. Hooked viewers searched Starnet for the heavenly melody, only to realize it was completely original. Tips rained down endlessly, though many fans questioned why animated graphics shamelessly blocked the mysterious broadcasters' faces. Operating as Yin Luo, they thrived. Without the shared financial system, Yuan would have never discovered their hidden career. Yin Yin puffed up proudly. Smarty had forged the perfect title for a beast obsessed with devouring green creepers. Seeing her immense pride, Yuan grew curious. If they hid their identities, why violently conquer the visual broadcast category? She revealed Smarty's master plan. It was the ultimate strategy to completely dominate and stand out among rivals. Cornered, Smarty confessed. Exhausted from daily cultivation studies, he surrendered the remaining time for Yin Yin to shine brilliantly. Despite operating for days and sparking heavy chat traffic, their actual follower count remained tragically low. Since it was merely a hobby, Yuan relented. Unlike typical soundbirds mastering acoustic combat, their precious Yin Yin simply adored singing. His blazing anger faded. Utilizing their natural talents and passions was actually a stroke of absolute genius. However, their true follower count was secretly preparing to absolutely explode. He grossly underestimated the legendary phenomenon Yin Luo would become. Meanwhile, the ecstatic duo celebrated his official blessing. However, he established strict boundaries. Shady donations were banned, with tips hard-capped at 500 Federation coins. Furthermore, he commanded them to transition directly into the highly competitive visual voice actor category. Elated, Yin Yin hoisted Smarty and vanished instantly. Yuan sighed, realizing his little beasts were rapidly outgrowing him. Mobius chuckled at their antics, but Yuan ignored the distraction, utterly consumed by the daunting challenge of leveling up Mobius himself. The space's spirit chi had tragically bottlenecked. It simply could not satisfy his ravenous, constantly evolving spirit creatures. To evolve Mobius, he first had to forcefully ascend his other spirit creatures. Though transforming spirit chi accelerated things, his current professional rank severely restricted his overall efficiency and power. Boosting that speed required Mobius to advance first. It was a completely maddening, vicious cycle of power. Mobius suggested prioritizing quality, despite the wealth drain. Only by refining a spirit creature's core quality could its true level awaken. He desperately wanted every single beast to unlock their ultimate, hidden potential. Advancing the goldfish required 3 precious drops of dragon beast blood. Meanwhile, Lily Luara's legendary breakthrough demanded revival soil, 2 redwood tree cores, and flora spring water. Facing these insane requirements, he immediately contacted Sister Shin. She answered, utterly stunned by his outrageous request. Dragon beast blood carried a truly catastrophic price tag. Yet, thrilling excitement surged within her. He was absolutely the legendary patron who dropped 5 radiant coins on day 1. She revealed the devastating truth. Gold rank blood cost 80 radiant coins, while platinum rank demanded a soul-crushing 2,000 per drop. Buying in bulk would secure a massive discount and a guarantee of absolutely pure, undiluted bloodlines. His deafening silence prompted her worry. In reality, Yuan was internally weeping over his devastating lack of funds. Coughing awkwardly, he desperately clarified he was merely inquiring about future possibilities. Deflecting, he ordered 4,000 caddies of inferior energy stones and 3 normal-grade goldfish. She confidently accepted the massive request. Hanging up, she calculated her restock times. Knowing this legendary patron, she prepared the dragon beast blood for his inevitable, triumphant return. 2 hours passed. The spiritual pool teemed with new life. Mobius scoffed at the lightning-fast delivery. Yuan wiped his brow, 5 web-spraying spiders now radiating a pure, epic-quality aura. Yet his wealth had plummeted back to 0.4 radiant coins. Half his spatial spirit chi was completely drained. He glared at the carefree goldfish, bitterly envious of their lazy existence. Tossing in their feed, absolute chaos erupted. The original goldfish bared its fangs aggressively. Yuan blinked in shock. Hadn't they always shared the exact same waters? The transformation pool was vastly larger now, yet a turf war raged. Mobius chuckled, calling his master hopelessly naive. This is the cruel law of nature, survival of the absolute fittest. Evolution is heaven's most brilliant gift to living beings. No spiritual beast would ever willingly share their vital spirit chi, not even with their former comrades. In the ruthless pursuit of power, greed is absolute. The harsh reality finally struck Yuan. The strong ruthlessly devour to grow invincible, while the weak are endlessly trampled upon. Mobius praised his master's newfound enlightenment. However, the laws of nature always demand an ultimate balance. True supreme beings avoid mindless slaughter. They master the delicate balance of coexistence and absolute order. A soothing aura pacified the dragon-eye spirit siphon goldfish. Within 5 days, the rest would achieve elite grade. Yuan tossed in more spiritual ore, leaving the rest entirely to Mobius. Checking his network, Yuan smirked, seeing the green creepers entirely wiped out. With Mobius perfecting the epic web-spraying spiders, it was time to restock the arsenal. Remembering his pending delivery to that bald VIP customer, Yuan immediately stepped out of his sanctuary. Chaos reigned in his virtual storefront. 2 customers fiercely clashed. A girl furiously accused a monk of exploiting her politeness to ruthlessly hoard all the out-of-stock inventory for himself. The monk calmly clasped his hands. Buddha strictly forbids robbery, he shamelessly preached. Blazing with absolute fury, she forcefully grabbed his ceremonial robes. How dare this hypocrite lecture her? She fiercely challenged him to a real-world duel. Silence! Yuan's voice boomed, threatening to kick them both out. He then revealed the web-spraying spiders. The monk's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. Only a 2-star creator could forge this. The girl gasped at the blinding epic-quality aura. But Yuan coldly shattered their hopes. These were exclusive custom commissions. Intrigued, the monk eagerly inquired about securing his own heavenly custom commission. Custom slots are entirely sealed for this current month, Yuan declared firmly. Desperate, the chaotic duo simultaneously begged for any remaining elite-grade green creepers. Completely depleted, Yuan ruthlessly crushed their hopes. That specific bloodline was permanently off the market. Shifting gears, he unveiled copper-rank green creepers and a majestic elite-grade spirit siphon goldfish. The legendary pre-order gates were officially opened. 5 radiant coins for the creeper, the girl screamed. 8 radiant coins for the goldfish. The monk countered with his heavy pockets. Both desperately threw massive fortunes, terrified of losing out. Watching their aggressive bidding war, Yuan realized these wealthy tycoons cared nothing for standard market values. One more argument, Yuan's eyes flashed, and you both face the eternal wrath of the shop blacklist. Little did our weary protagonist know, these 2 ruthless bidders were secretly conspiring in the shadows. Absolute rules were urgently needed. He pinned an ironclad edict at the storefront, awaiting your divine news. The monk bowed before vanishing away. The girl remained rooted to the spot. State your business, Yuan probed, reminding her the spiritual beast inventory was completely dry. Nervously hesitating, she finally asked the ultimate question. Could he restore a shattered spirit creature? Yuan's creator instincts flared. She described a severely wounded beast, its very spiritual foundation crumbling away. Anything below silver rank, I can attempt a miracle, Yuan offered. Tears of joy cascaded down her face. Her daughter's precious companion was finally saved. Daughter? Yuan froze in his tracks. He could not believe this shocking revelation. This youthful woman looked no older than his sister. She then summoned the critically injured copper rank entity. A vicious dimensional rift ambush. A horn demon had incinerated its roots. Yuan gasped. Demonic horn fire carries a terrifyingly cursed withering attribute. For any plant-type beast, such demonic flames are an absolute death sentence. The mystery of the shattered foundation was finally laid bare. Bowing endlessly, she nervously inquired about the celestial fee. Currently penniless, she swore to conquer heaven and earth to gather the required funds by next month. Yuan casually waved his hand. Wealth mattered little right now, and his cultivation schedule was completely packed for this cycle anyway. Bring the beast next month, he commanded. Keep your mortal currency. What I demand in exchange is the legendary and elusive revival soil. She stood completely paralyzed. A miracle for mere soil? Without any hesitation, she sealed the fateful pact. She vowed to unearth it at all costs. Once secured, they would finalize this heaven-defying transaction. Yuan's eyes narrowed in awe. If even Sister Shin could not source this mythical soil, this mysterious mother possessed terrifying underworld connections. One legendary material secured. Flora spring water required only wealth. Now, only the elusive redwood tree core remained on his list. Must he brave the treacherous bidding wars at the legendary treasure pavilion to finally claim it? Pushing aside those future tribulations, Yuan fired a psychic message to Cloudstream. The epic web-spraying spiders were forged. Come claim them instantly. Manifesting like a phantom, her speed left Yuan completely shocked. She playfully accused him of using cheats. 5 epic-tier spiders in mere days? The impossible speed left her utterly speechless. She swore to harvest the transparent silk without a second's delay. The flawless quality blew her mind. Completely thrilled with the merchandise, she ordered the immediate dispatch of the legendary shipment. Thrill radiated from her gaze. However, he issued a grim warning. One webweaver held the lethal venom skill, a true hazard to her pristine locks. She bristled with sudden defensive fury. It was a pure accident, she roared, aggressively insisting her scorched hair was already making a comeback. The funds hit his account as she vanished. Her fiery temper baffled the main character, but the sweet taste of fresh capital erased all doubt. The empire needed to grow. He instantly commanded a massive restock of raw materials, guaranteeing the river of wealth would never run dry. The butterfly tail spirit siphon goldfish were an absolute market sensation. A fresh batch of green creepers was absolutely mandatory now. Smarty's eyes strained like breaking glass. Exhaustion from arcane study? Not quite, the companion admitted, but some high-level theories remained stubbornly out of reach. The profound mysteries of spirit-beast evolution puzzled him deeply. What exact riddle troubled his mind? The main character inquired. Evolution wasn't just raw survival or brutal combat power, Smarty argued. Such a selfish path would cause spirit beasts to utterly collapse from their own overwhelming transformations. The profound concept felt like grasping mist. To pierce the fog, he desperately searched for a tangible, grounded example. His finger snapped toward the humble green creeper. A daily staple that the little scholar consumed like clockwork. He challenged the scholar to imagine being a green creeper choosing an evolution path for pure survival. Smarty's ruthless answer: instantly shed all leaves against predators, forge deadly internal toxins, and violently mutate into an unyielding, drought-resistant fortress. A lethal, spike-covered cactus mentally materialized. That path leads to utter ruin, he declared. Shock rattled the companion. Hadn't he just mapped out the ultimate blueprint for absolute survival? The evolved copper rank form was then dramatically revealed. Smarty's jaw dropped. It defied every single militant survival theory he had desperately clung to. Succulent, vibrant, and bursting with flavor. The mutated plant practically begged to become a mouth-watering feast for wandering beasts. This evolutionary route was a bold, universal broadcast. It proudly proclaimed to every monster in existence, I am an endless fountain of heavenly sustenance. In return, elite beasts became its sworn protectors and devoted caretakers. By offering life, it forged an unshakable throne within the brutal ecosystem's hierarchy. The stubborn companion grumbled in defiance. He'd rather mutate into living garbage. To be utterly repulsive was the true shield against devouring jaws. Academic burnout had forged a cage around your mind, he laughed. A change of scenery was urgently needed to break the mental block. Yin Yin chirped with explosive joy. The outside world felt like a forgotten memory. Their lazy reliance on endless digital deliveries had trapped them indoors for far too long. A colossal digital billboard commanded their attention. City Lord Lin Xiao delivered a shocking decree. The Radiant Federation Creators Guild was completely overhauling the sacred certification trials. Conquering the 1-star trial within 2 hours granted a legendary shortcut. Candidates could bypass 3 tedious lifestyle barriers and instantly clash with the brutal 2-star crucible. This divine revelation sent his pulse racing. The path to leap directly to 2-star glory was finally open. A fiery vow etched into his soul to secure it. Yin Yin echoed his burning ambition. Then, the broadcast turned chilling. A grim Federation probe confirmed a 6-month dimensional rift awakening. A catastrophic tide of exotic beasts was destined to wash over them. The Radiant Federation plunged into absolute martial law. Civilians were ordered to forge emergency preparations and hold off the creeping shadows of absolute panic. Elite spirit guards would soon deploy across the crumbling borders. They were the final bloody shield against the apocalyptic beast invasion. Armored silhouettes of majestic guards flickered across the screen. Like a lightning strike, a buried childhood memory of his departing parents shattered his peaceful mind. "Protect Shuer with your life," they had whispered softly. A fleeting mission, they claimed, promising a warm return before the morning sun even kissed his face. But dawn only brought a blood-stained messenger. The devastating truth crushed his soul. Soon after, his innocent sister awoke, searching blindly for their missing creators. He choked out the soul-crushing reality. They were gone forever. Her agonizing wails pierced the air. Pulling her close, he swore a blood oath to become her unbreakable shield. His trembling fingers dug violently into the metallic badges they left behind. Paralyzed by the dark flashback, he ignored his companion's frantic cries. Snapping back to reality, he pulled the worried pets into a tight embrace, swallowing the lingering sorrow. The heavy atmosphere signaled an immediate retreat home. A staggering realization hit him. Those inherited crests were the legendary insignias of the noble spirit guards. Booting up the terminal the second he crossed the threshold, he plunged headfirst into a frantic digital hunt for the buried truth. The puzzle pieces clicked with terrifying precision. The apocalyptic rift that tore through Sha County a decade ago was indeed sealed by the blood of the spirit guards. Decrypted files revealed a chilling narrative. Core telemetry had picked up an overwhelmingly massive energy signature lurking within the abyssal void. His eyes devoured the classified intel. 7 in the morning, a Tier 4 swamp dragonfly breached the perimeter. 30 warriors fell to its might before the legendary Wind and Thunder Squad rained absolute destruction upon it. 3 in the afternoon brought pure nightmare fuel. A Tier 5 rotting bone silkworm erupted from the depths, unleashing foul acid streams and horrific undead manipulation. The Captain General crashed into the battlefield alongside elite vanguards. A desperate extermination began. By 8 at night, the beast was crippled, yet its dark miasma permanently scarred the earth. Civilian lives were mercifully spared, but the devastating toll left 120 mangled and 53 completely erased from existence. A 72-hour countdown to seal the breach commenced. The rotting bone silkworm triggered an agonizing, blood-chilling familiarity in his memory. A fatal revelation surfaced. The bone-devouring gangrene was a suicidal pact, an apocalyptic curse the silkworm unleashed only by sacrificing its own soul in the ultimate moment of desperation. The scattered clues finally aligned. Uncle Lee was secretly a spirit guard. Yuan's trembling gaze fell upon the twin badges his parents had left behind. Surrounded by blazing lava, frozen tundras, endless deserts, and sinking quagmires, the Radiant Federation barely survived within the suffocating cracks of these 4 deadly extreme zones. Beyond those fragile borders, countless savage spirit creatures endlessly prowled. The spirit guards stood as humanity's absolute shield. They ruthlessly slaughtered invading exotic beasts and crushed terrifying spirit disasters. Had his parents truly fought on those hellish front lines? They kept it completely hidden. Suddenly, faint glowing inscriptions caught his eye on the metal badges. Gently brushing off the dried blood, the digits 2837 revealed themselves. Could this be their legendary spirit guard serial number? Diving straight into the network, a glaring red warning suddenly shattered his screen. Access denied. He had triggered absolute top-tier restricted clearance. Interrogating Auntie Jiang crossed his mind. However, she was busy escorting Uncle Lee to the hospital. Both were lifelong comrades of his missing parents. Yuan was certain they hid the ultimate truth. Uncle Lee's horrific scars practically screamed of past battles. Was he a retired spirit guard too? Out of nowhere, sharp knocks violently echoed from the front door. At this dead hour of the night, could Auntie Jiang be back? No, her rhythm was entirely different. Sister Shuer was locked in for the 100 Sun selection, completely ruling her out. Shuer always texted first. As for his secret Starnet clients, they exclusively communicated through highly encrypted phone channels. A chilling mix of dread and curiosity gripped Yuan's spine. Suddenly, the rapping pattern shifted, hinting another stranger had taken the lead. Pure nightmare fuel flooded his mind. Had his heaven-defying spirit evolution powers been exposed? Were merciless kidnappers waiting outside the door? Smarty and Yin Yin jolted awake, utterly confused. Smarty cracked a tense joke. "Did you accidentally crush a rival merchant's empire, boss?" Yuan instantly silenced the chatter. He barely moved any actual inventory. Making deadly underground enemies was completely impossible right now. Whispering dark commands, he ordered Yin Yin. "If I step back when this door opens, instantly nuke the entryway with turbulence and sound spike." Gripping the handle, he cracked the door open by a hair. Who was there? An imposing man and woman stood solemnly in the shadows. Are you the bloodline of Lin Yuan and Chu Yan? The man demanded. You know them? Yuan gasped. Anticipating this, the woman flashed an unmistakable silver crest. Look how much you have grown, she whispered, eyes swimming with emotion. We are officially from the Spirit Guard's headquarters. I am Su Jin, but please, call me Auntie Su. This towering wall of muscle beside me is Donghai. Did you slice into our restricted mainframe tonight? Donghai probed. Your digital footprints led us here. The absolute truth finally crashed down. His parents were verified Spirit Guards. It is a tragically long tale, Donghai sighed heavily. The apocalyptic fallout from their final battle left everything shattered. Operating as deep cover phantoms made tracking their ultimate fate extremely difficult. Headquarters completely fumbled the aftermath, leaving agonizing mysteries totally unresolved. Forgive our shameful delay. With a heavy heart, the towering man slowly offered Yuan a deeply crusted, blood-soaked scrap. What is this? Yuan choked out. This is your foundation, Donghai declared softly. Staring at the faded, desperate scribbles, Yuan's heart completely shattered. It was undeniably his mother's handwriting. Donghai somberly explained their elite missions constantly faced death. That terrifying reality forced Auntie Jiang and Uncle Li into complete silence. They became absolute shadow guardians, shielding the siblings from deadly fallout. Please do not hate them, Donghai pleaded. Wiping fierce tears, Yuan shook his head. Blame them? Their silent sacrifices are the only reason we survived this cruel world. Call me Uncle Dong from now on, the scarred man vowed. Consider me your absolute shield. If you ever face true danger, my doors are permanently wide open. Auntie Su cleared her throat, steering Uncle Dong toward one critically forgotten detail. We brought the divine treasure, exchanged using your parents' blood-soaked battle merits, plus old Jiang's relentless petitions. What legendary treasure? Yuan gasped in total shock. A genuine source seed, Uncle Dong declared. A what? Yuan blinked. Dimensional rifts spit out more than just apocalyptic beast tides, Auntie Su lectured. They birth heaven-defying source-type treasures. Plucking these god-tier anomalies from the core is the only way to permanently seal rifts. The source seed is the ultimate key. A sacred artifact powerful enough to violently crush a level 2 dimensional rift. Boom. That concludes today's epic lore drop. Craving those addictive weekly chapter releases? Every single future update drops exclusively over on my second channel, Manhwa Updater. Do not let the system leave you behind. Smash that subscribe button and join the absolute update gang. Thanks for tuning in. Stay legendary, stay awesome, and I will catch you in the next epic recap.